Chapter 136. On the Dongmei Highway from Kyoto to Tokyo, the Kanagawa High School bus was traveling at a constant speed. If they came to Kyoto to travel, then they would be tired and sleeping on the way back. Unfortunately, they came here to train. When they came, they memorized music, but on the way back, they sang. According to Rin Kiyono, singing music could cultivate the ability to read music, and also practice the correct intervals. As soon as they got on the bus, Toru Watanabe could hear Yoshimi Tamamo's singing across the aisle. Unlike him, who was ridiculed for his bad singing, Yoshimi Tamamo was humming the designated song. Her voice was as soft as a bird, and she composed the melody of a trombone. Aoi Ichiki, who was next to Yoshimi Tamamo, and Masahi and Asako Hanada, who were in front of Toru Watanabe, were also humming the main melody of the trombone. Then there was the clarinet, bass clarinet, trumpet, flute, piccolo, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, alto saxophone, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, alto saxophone. Toru Watanabe put his hand on the window and looked at the Kyoto that was gradually fading away. New product, Qi and blood medicine. Qi and blood medicine. Nourish the innate, nurture the acquired, nourish the source of biochemistry. Hint. Buy by the bottle, 30 pills per bottle. After a normal person takes it, after training and digestion, it can nourish the blood, nourish the yin, nourish the liver and kidney, and clear the blood vessels. Toru Watanabe used his phone to check. The innate referred to the kidney, the spleen referred to the acquired, and the source of biochemistry referred to the qi and blood. What was the specific use of it? To make the body healthier? Since it was not expensive, Toru Watanabe decided to buy a bottle to try. If the effect was good, he would go back to his hometown and give it to his parents. Next was October's skill. Skill, beginner, aquaculture, 100, master, calligraphy, 1000, master, milk tea making, 10,000, master, singing, 100,000. That's it. Singing. There was a skill that Toru Watanabe really wanted, but he would definitely not spend points to buy it. Reina, I'm really your fan. Toru Watanabe dejectedly turned off the panel. Outside the car window was a vast expanse of farmland. They had long since left Kyoto. His resentment probably couldn't be transmitted to Beiyuji High School, where Reina was. Looking back, the soft humming in the bus had unknowingly turned into a chorus. Theme songs, self-selected songs, theme songs, self-selected songs. Again and again, the song had no intention of stopping until they reached Tokyo. Let's sleep. Toru Watanabe closed the curtains and curled up on the chair. There were still 3 hours before they reached Tokyo. Speaking of October, what do you two remember? The French Revolution. Are you an idiot? Osamu Kunai glared at Keisuke Saito, then turned to Toru Watanabe, who was making a new read. Watanabe, what about you? What did you think of? Don't let me down. The new China is established. It's the sports festival and the student council election. What are you two thinking? Keisuke Saito shrugged indifferently. Who knew you would suddenly say this? I thought you were testing us on history. Watanabe was in the limelight during the cultural festival, and now it's our country's Uncle Osamu's turn. Watch carefully, this time I'll let the 4th class win first place. Sports festival. Keisuke Saito, who was leaning against the window, howled and leaned back. I just hope you don't make me run. No, it'd better rain, yes, rain. Can you be a little more ambitious? Look at Watanabe, at first his stamina was worse than yours, but now, even our baseball coach recently praised him. You have to know that the old man always says the word idiot every time he opens his mouth. Is that true? Keisuke Saito looked at Toru Watanabe in surprise. That was because Toru Watanabe had been taking medicine recently, and his stamina had improved by leaps and bounds. Of course, it was not only his stamina, as long as Miki Kujo knew about it. Whoosh! He gently blew the reed away and aimed the reed out of the window. Through the hollow tube of the reed, they could see the blue autumn sky. The sky was vast and white. A crow flew past and landed on the barbed wire fence of the Kanagawa High School playground. The water of the female baseball manager is delicious. Toru Watanabe and the crow looked at each other. What? How dare you seduce our manager? Before the two of them attacked Toru Watanabe and were killed, Aona Koizumi walked in. The class meeting is about to begin, everyone go back to your seats. Yes, everyone replied in a long tone. First of all, the results of last month's monthly test. This time, our class's average score. Toru Watanabe listened with one ear while his hand continued to polish the reed. As a professional reed master, he had to be attentive and meticulous. In addition, the new student council election will be held on the 15th of this month. Aona Koizumi looked at Toru Watanabe, who was immersed in his work, and continued, "The venue will be the gymnasium. The specific notice will be posted on the bulletin board. There is also the sports festival. In addition to the class ranking battle, each club must also participate in the club entertainment competition. About the club matters, you can discuss it with your classmates in the same club. The class ranking battle involves the honor of the class. If you have the ability or are interested, you can sign up with the class monitor. The list will be confirmed on the 20th. If there are not enough people, the teacher will have to force the roll call. So, if you don't like long distance running, please quickly sign up for other events." After the class meeting ended, Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito once again questioned Toru Watanabe about the baseball manager. "What manager?" Toru Watanabe was puzzled. "Don't play dumb. I really don't know. You just said it. The female manager's water is so delicious," Keisuke Saito said bitterly. No, you must have heard wrong. I said that the female high school students in Kyoto are so beautiful. Their skirts are so short. Bullshit, you obviously... Wait, do you have a picture? Yes. We don't believe you without a picture. There was one thing that had to be explained. The length of the female high school students' skirts in the anime couldn't be seen in the real school. For example, in Kanagawa High School, as long as the girls' legs were slightly shorter, the skirt and socks would be seamless, and not even a bit of flesh would be exposed. It was only outside of school that the female high school students would roll up their skirts for the sake of looking good. After school, Toru Watanabe played Matsuda Seiko's song on his newly made reed and went to the human observation department. As soon as he opened the sliding door of the activity room, a sweet smell mixed with the aroma of tea greeted him. Miki Kujo was lazily lying on the sofa with a book in one hand and the other hand occasionally reaching for the biscuit box on the table. On the other side, Ching Yi-rin was holding an exquisite teapot with his slender hand. Steam was rising from the teacup, and Ching Yi-rin's face was as clean as white jade. Has the human observation department finally been reduced to a tea-drinking club? Toru Watanabe closed the sliding door and walked to his seat. Tea-drinking club? Rin Kiyono straightened her back and used her fingertips to push back her long black hair that was like lead powder. As far as I know, the light voice department, the GJ department, and the service department have all been corrupted by the tea-drinking culture. By the way, the summer of the Easternmost Magic Club has been eliminated by sleeping. Let's not talk about the summer of the Easternmost Magic Club and the GJ department for now. What about the service department? Miki Kujo asked in an unfriendly tone. As expected of one of my people. You speak the summer of the Easternmost Magic Club so fluently. It's hard to say all these words in one breath without a certain degree of chunibu. Answer my question. Under his girlfriend's cold gaze, Toru Watanabe obediently answered, "It's a club founded in high school by the daughter of a high school counselor in Chiba Prefecture." A counselor in Chiba Prefecture? Miki Kujo took a bite of her biscuit and made a crisp sound. Doesn't that fat pig only have a mediocre son in his 30s? It doesn't matter if it's a son or a daughter. Since the club they founded is called the service department, it's obvious that they're mediocre. Rin Kiyono picked up her teacup and took a sip in a very well-mannered manner. Shouldn't the author be the one scolding at this time? Otherwise, even if the second miss turned into an insect under the snow, she wouldn't have named herself the service department. Your human observation department is pretty stupid as well. Miki Kujo didn't hold back at all as she mocked him. If you think it's stupid, can I ask you to leave the department, Kujo-san? I'll do whatever I want to do. It's not up to Kiyono-san to teach me. By the way, have you heard about the sports festival? Toru Watanabe hurriedly interrupted the two who were about to quarrel again. It seems that every club has to participate in a club competition. Rin Kiyono put down her teacup and stroked the sides of the cup with her fingertips. She lowered her head and thought, I'm not good at sports, but I can participate in events that don't require physical strength. Miki, what about you? Toru Watanabe asked. What kind of events? Miki Kujo swayed her long legs that didn't have a trace of excess fat. I'm not sure. Toru Watanabe stared at her dazzling white legs, but there's probably group jumping rope, borrowing things to race, horse riding, and so on. Boring. It didn't matter if it was boring or not. I'm going to the wind department to practice. Toru Watanabe hadn't even warmed up his seat yet, so he took the opportunity to leave. As long as he wasn't present, he didn't care how much they quarreled. Time passed day by day, and there was still some time before the sports festival. The most important thing in Kamigawa right now was the student council president election. This had nothing to do with the first years. Although the school rules didn't stipulate that the position had to be held by the second years, it was already a custom. In the case of the two misses not being interested in the student council, almost no first years could break this custom. October 9th. Friday. Because they were bored and wanted to broaden their horizons, Toru Watanabe and Osamu Kanai went to the gymnasium at noon to listen to a debate between the candidates. Kamigawa's student council president could get a recommendation from the principal. As long as they passed the interview, they could almost directly secure a spot in the university. So there were many people participating, and each of them was very capable. The debate was quite exciting. Two of the female candidates directly started fighting. According to the second years in the audience, the two usually didn't see eye to eye. Mocking and slandering each other was a common thing, and there was even an incident of quarreling in the classmate group for 2 hours. At 3:40, the bell that announced the end of school rang. Ah, you dare to pull my hair. I'll kill you, you vixen. It wasn't just the end of school. During the afternoon class, Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito both pinched their throats and imitated the fight at noon for their classmates. Toru Watanabe raised his hands in surrender. You called me by my full name, of course I don't. Ching Yi-rin's lips curled up slightly for a moment, but she immediately snorted coldly, flicked her straight black hair, and turned around to continue walking towards the club's building as her skirt fluttered in the wind. On the way, she explained the rules of the sports festival to Toru Watanabe. Just like the inter-class competition, the clubs also used a point system. They were free to participate in any activity. First place received 5 points, second place received 3 points, and third place received 1 point. In the end, the 3 clubs with the highest points could go on stage together with the 3 classes with the highest points to receive the prize. However, the top 3 of the inter-class competition was one from each grade. In the club competition, it didn't matter if you had more third-year students or first-year students, or how many people you had, it was only based on the total score. This is too difficult. We don't have a chance in the relay and other cooperative activities. Moreover, the club entertainment competition is based on cooperation. Toru Watanabe said helplessly. That's why we have to train and try to get as many points as possible in all the activities except cooperative activities. Are you sure 10 days is enough time? Don't we still have the playing department to practice? The national competition is more important. As for the playing department, as long as I'm there for the evening ensemble, it's fine. Your level is already good enough. That's true. Toru Watanabe nodded. His oboe had already reached a bottleneck, and he only needed to maintain the minimum amount of practice. If he wanted to reach the level surpassing level, he definitely couldn't just immerse himself in hard work. Exercising for a change of mood was also good. Chapter 137. Kanagawa High School's sports field was not comparable to many universities. First of all, it was very large. Looking at the people standing in the middle of the field from the stands, the high school students were only the size of elementary school students. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a small racetrack. In addition, the facilities were new and perfect. There would never be a situation where the baseball department was playing baseball on one side and the track and field department was practicing running on the other. Toru Watanabe, who had changed into sportswear, half squatted on the ground and began to warm up by stretching his legs left and right. What exactly are we practicing? Rin Kiyono, who had also changed into sportswear, held a notebook in one hand and supported her chin with the other. After thinking for a while, she said, "First, it's long-range soccer shot. What are the rules?" Under the premise that the ball can enter the goal, the further the distance, the higher the ranking. Unlike usual, there will be no one at the goal. At this time, a female track and field department member quickly ran in front of the two of them. Her ponytail was flying, her chest was moving up and down, her butt was moving up and down, her legs. Watanabe classmate, please repeat what I just said. Under the premise that the ball can enter the goal, Toru Watanabe calmly withdrew his gaze from the track and field department member. The further the distance, the higher the ranking. After he repeated it word by word, Rin Kiyono continued to explain as if nothing had happened. "That's all. I understand." Toru Watanabe nodded. "Then, let's go to the physical education teacher and apply for the right to use the soccer ball and the field." "So troublesome? Can't we just borrow it from the soccer department?" "Do you know anyone in the soccer department?" Rin Kiyono asked. "No." "Then who are you going to borrow it from?" Toru Watanabe did not answer and went straight to the soccer department. Rin Kiyono followed. Seeing his confident face, she was slightly curious. In the end, he and the female soccer manager. "Look," Toru Watanabe used his knees to support the soccer ball. "Not only do we have the ball, we also have the right to use the goal." "Yes. Whether we know each other or not, no one has ever rejected me, Watanabe, when I want to borrow something from someone. You're just good-looking." With a sigh, Rin Kiyono let go of the hand that was rubbing his eyebrows. "Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and practice." "You or me? What do you think?" "You do it." Rin Kiyono didn't say a word and walked straight to the goal. Toru Watanabe stood where he was and estimated the distance between himself and the goal. 30 meters. At this distance, he could basically guarantee his strength and accuracy. After attending PE classes for more than half a year, he relied on his extraordinary intelligence and superhuman physique. Recently, he was already very good at most sports. In the past, he was too lazy to realize that he seemed to have some talent in sports. After fixing the ball, he lifted his leg and kicked it out. The football soared into the sky and spun towards the goal. The curve was quite beautiful, like a rainbow. Unfortunately, it didn't go in and hit the goalpost. This was only the first shot. As long as he found the feeling, Toru Watanabe believed that he would be able to score from this distance without any interference. He trotted and was ready to pick up the ball, but Rin Kiyono had already walked over with the football. "You're responsible for picking up the ball? This is the Human Observation Department's matter. Of course, I have to contribute." Rin Kiyono said matter-of-factly, "It's also to let you save your strength for practice." "Okay, Minister." Toru Watanabe took the football. Watching Rin Kiyono's back as he walked back to the goal, Toru Watanabe put the ball on the ground and lifted his leg to shoot again. The ball rolled for a while near the goal for a distance of 2 meters and stopped. Rin Kiyono picked up the ball, walked over and handed it to him. "Why is it suddenly so far away? I'm not a professional football player. You have too high expectations of me." "Was the first shot a lucky shot?" "A lucky shot? Who do you think I am?" Toru Watanabe was so angry that he put the ball on the ground. He did not run up nor did he accumulate strength. He lifted his leg and kicked. The football flew out with a bang. Rin Kiyono could not help but turn her head to look. The ball was like a drill. It rushed to the goal with a whirlwind and was only 1 meter away from the goal. "Did you see that?" Toru Watanabe placed his right hand across his forehead and looked at the goal to confirm the distance. It's closer than last time. If I practice more, I can definitely score from this distance today. Rin Kiyono nodded and agreed with his words. She walked back and picked up the ball. Toru Watanabe kicked it again. Unfortunately, it's a little far away this time. The fourth time, it was a little better. The fifth time, it was a little better. The sixth time, it was a little worse. Do you want to rest for a while? I'll pick it up myself. Focus on practice. Rin Kiyono interrupted him. After that, she took off her sportswear jacket, revealing a white short-sleeved shirt with her surname written on it. She folded the jacket and put it next to Toru Watanabe together with her notebook. Then, she walked back to the goal. Halfway through, the football passed her in the air and landed not far from the goal. The seventh time, it hit the goal. The eighth time, it was a little further away. The ninth time, Rin Kiyono was panting. The thin hair on her temples was wet with sweat. I think you should take a break, Toru Watanabe said while holding the ball. Rin Kiyono wanted to say something, but she could not catch her breath. After a while, she shook her head and motioned for him to continue. Toru Watanabe threw the ball out. Without waiting for it to hit the ground, he lifted his leg and kicked it. He put his hand on his forehead and looked at the ball. It's a little closer. I seem to have found the feeling. Rin Kiyono nodded and slowly walked towards the ball that was still rolling. After taking 2 steps, she stopped. When there was no ball, Toru Watanabe would practice shooting without the ball. While looking for an angle, he would constantly adjust his strength. Seeing that she suddenly stood still, he asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Can't hold on?" "Just in case." Rin Kiyono turned around. "You didn't deliberately not kick it in, did you?" "How is that possible?" "Of course not." Rin Kiyono's face suddenly turned cold. Wait. Listen to my explanation first." Toru Watanabe raised his hands to stop her from being impulsive. "I saw that your stamina is very weak and you don't exercise, so I wanted to use this method to train you. It's really for your own good." Rin Kiyono crossed her arms. Her cherry-colored lips were slightly pursed, forming a dangerous arc. "Kiyono classmate." "Kiyono. Rin. Do you believe me? Would I lie to you? Even if I lie to anyone, I won't lie to you." Rin Kiyono pointed at the track and said in a nonchalant tone, 1,000 meters. "Wait a minute, this is too strange. I admit that I wanted to make fun of you, but you only picked it up 9 times, a total of 540 meters, right? I accept the punishment, but why do you have to run 1,000 meters? 1,100 meters. Okay, I understand. I'll go now." Looking at Toru Watanabe's dispirited back, Rin Kiyono snorted through her nose. Then, she revealed a faint smile. She picked up her sportswear and notebook, took the football, and walked to the stands. After running 1,100 meters, Toru Watanabe would definitely need to rest. She also wanted to rest for a while. Putting the football and sportswear aside, she looked at her notebook. In it, she wrote down the entertainment events that, even with the number of people in the Human Observation Department, they could participate in and possibly get points. In addition to football long-distance shooting, there were also badminton hole shooting, tennis fixed-point hitting, and so on. "Kiyono classmate." A surprised voice called out from afar. Rin Kiyono raised her head. Yoshimi Tamamo was running towards her with a trombone in her arms. Apart from her, everyone else in the music department was here. "Kiyono classmate, why are you here?" Yoshimi Tamamo said while panting slightly. Practice. Practice." Rin Kiyono nodded slightly. "We're going to take first place in the Sports Festival's club entertainment competition." "I see." Yoshimi Tamamo suddenly reacted. "But isn't there only 3 people in the Human Observation Department? Also, Kiyono classmate, you." They were in the same class, so they naturally attended PE classes together. Rin Kiyono looked like she was about to collapse every time after warming up. It was really hard to trust her. I know my own situation. I only participate in skills events. But that's not enough. Aoya Chiki also walked over. There are indeed a lot of fun events in the sports festival, but those sports clubs definitely have their advantages. It's okay. I still have him. Rin Kiyono pointed at the track. Everyone looked in the direction she pointed. Tetsumasa Watanabe was running slowly. Wait, something's wrong. Bang. The signal gun sounded, and the track and field members rushed out. At the same time, Toru Watanabe suddenly accelerated. He was clearly 1 meter behind in the beginning. He was clearly wearing sportswear with long sleeves and trousers. He was clearly from a cultural club, but he overtook the track and field members, as well as the students participating in the National High School Sports Festival. This guy, is he so good at running too? Yoshimi Tamamo was stunned. So Watanabe classmate is not only good at baseball. Aoya Chiki was also surprised. Asako Hanada clenched her fists and stared at Toru Watanabe. She looked like she was cheering for him in her heart. Mayasahi blinked her clear eyes. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Under the gaze of everyone in the wind department, the members of the track and field department went from puzzlement to anger, and then they chased after Toru Watanabe. Finally, they stood at the finish line and foolishly watched Toru Watanabe leave. That's amazing. He surpassed the track and field team. Kaoru Hayami clapped softly. The others had a bad relationship with Toru Watanabe, but the boys admired Toru Watanabe. Especially when he took out Reina's autograph, they seemed to treat him like a big brother. After a while, Toru Watanabe ran to the front of their stands. He waved at them like a champion who had crossed the finish line. Everyone ignored him. On the second lap, the music club saw this guy deliberately slow down. He waited for the track and field team's signal gun to join the others. Rin Kiyono smiled and sighed. She looked away and said to Yoshimi Tamamo and the others, "Why did the music club come to the field?" "The school arranged for us to perform at the opening and closing ceremonies. We also have to play at the finals of important events. We're here to rehearse." "This is so annoying. Why are the cultural and sports festivals all happening at the same time? There are less than 20 days until the nationals." "Kiyono classmate, can you help us ask the principal to let us practice in peace?" That's right. They had seen how the principal flattered the Kujo family. They thought that Rin Kiyono, who was born in a family of similar status, could change the principal's mind. Impossible. Even if everyone begged in unison, Rin Kiyono refused without hesitation. Why? It's not that we don't want to contribute to the sports festival, but at least cancel the performance at the finals and give us more time to practice. Yes, please, Kiyono classmate. Impossible means impossible. Rin Kiyono coldly refused again. The situation is the same for other schools. Fukuoka's Tsuyoshi Girls Middle School even has to go to Kyoto to participate in an event. Why don't you have time? Her words were so sharp that the atmosphere became awkward. Yoshimi Tamamo quickly changed the topic. She looked around and shouted excitedly, Look, that guy is being beaten." Everyone looked over and saw that Toru Watanabe had been surrounded by people from the track and field club. Some people were even pulling at his sportswear. He looked very embarrassed. It was a sharp contrast to his usual arrogance in the music club. The people in the music club laughed. Toru Watanabe had finally broken through the encirclement of the track and field club. It was fine if they said that, but they actually hit him. He simply took off the sportswear that had fallen to his shoulders. 1,100 meters. I'm done. Please review, Kiyono classmate. Rin Kiyono nodded. Thank you for your hard work. Toru Watanabe threw his sportswear on top of hers and looked at the music club. What are you doing here? Why aren't you practicing? None of your business. Yoshimi Tamamo turned her face away. I heard that you're going to retake the monthly exam? No way. I'm so beautiful. I worked hard. I clearly didn't want to retake the exam this time. Yoshimi Tamamo was very excited. She even cried at the end. Rin Kiyono glared at Toru Watanabe and said to the music club, "Aren't you going to rehearse? Hurry up and start." Yes. They quickly put down the water and towels and began to line up. After letting Toru Watanabe rest for a while, Rin Kiyono also urged him to continue practicing. A distance of 30 meters, he kicked in with his first kick. Rin Kiyono looked at him meaningfully before passing the ball to him. He shot 5 times from 30 meters away. After confirming that it was 100% in, he increased the distance to 40 meters. Time passed, and before they knew it, the sky was dyed red. The lights in the stadium lit up. Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono finished their dinner and decided to rest for a while. The music club members were also working hard. It seemed that they wanted to finish the rehearsal today in one go. However, after dinner, they also went to rest. Even if they were resting, they were still working hard for the national competition. Mukue's lips moved, and the silver mouthpiece emitted a fu sound of various scales. However, the sound was not pleasant. Because there was a problem with the way she blew, the sound was not very clean. That's it. Masahi nodded slightly. It's obviously different from what you said, Senior Mai. Aoi Ichiki was very dissatisfied with Masahi's perfunctory attitude. Senior, I beg you, can you blow it again? This time I'll learn seriously. Masahi ignored her and looked at Toru Watanabe, who was staring at them to pass the time. Kuin Watanabe, do you want to try? Me? I don't know how to play the bass horn. Although his oboe was unbeatable, there was a big difference between different instruments, including the shape of his mouth and breathing. If he wanted to play the bass horn, he was only slightly better than a newbie who didn't know anything about instruments. It's okay. Masahi walked to Toru Watanabe with small steps. She stared at him and blinked a few times. I can teach you. Why? Aoi Ichiki exclaimed. Yoshimi Tamamo, who was sitting with them, looked at them in surprise. Asako Hanada. She clenched her fist again. Rin Kiyono frowned slightly and looked at the two of them. No. Toru Watanabe quickly distanced himself. Other than Reina's trumpet, I'm not interested in other instruments. It's limited to people. Masahi nodded slightly. No, I'm just kidding. Forget it. Toru Watanabe said, Senior, you can teach me tomorrow. Okay. Masahi put her cool and delicious lips on the mouthpiece. She first blew a puff sound, then said, in this state, try to change the interval. Then, Masahi blew a very clear interval. Every note was very clear. Unlike Aoi Ichiki's deep voice, her voice was beautiful and loud. It was pleasant to the ear and wandered in the field under the dusk. Did you learn it? Yes. Toru Watanabe thought for a while. No. Try it. Masahi handed over the mouthpiece that was definitely covered in saliva. Why? Aoi Ichiki quickly grabbed her hand. Senior, you can't just lend the mouthpiece to the opposite sex. Asako Hanada shouted. That's right. Yoshimi Tamamo also kept persuading her. Masahi looked at them in confusion. Watanabe classmate is very talented in musical instruments. I like him very much and would be happy to teach him the bass. Toru Watanabe was shocked. That kind of liking can't be based on the mouthpiece. That's just appreciation. Aoi Ichiki snatched the mouthpiece from her hand. Masahi stared at her and narrowed her emotionless eyes. I understand. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Only Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe with a half-smile. Toru Watanabe quickly gave her a look. It has nothing to do with me. Be careful. Why? Rin Kiyono had already retracted her gaze. I wore it especially for you, but it's not the kind of special that you understand. What do you mean by your special intention and my special intention? I don't understand. Anyway, I'll interpret it as my own way. Rin Kiyono has gradually fallen in love with Toru Watanabe. I won't accept any rebuttals. That's all. Rin Kiyono showed a rare stunned expression. When she came back to her senses, she said with a tone of admiration and a look of disdain, "You're really daring." "Thank you. By the way, is there a no safety pants style for tennis skirts?" "No." "Impossible, it's in the movies I watch." Watanabe-san, reflect on what movies you watch. It must be because Kiyono-san's vision is not broad enough. I think you need to ask the shop assistant carefully. A popular item like this would definitely be placed in a corner. Since it's a popular item, why would it be placed in a corner? The two of them walked down the stairs and arrived at the shoe cabinet. The vending machine in the corner of the first floor was emitting cheap lights. That's where you don't understand. Toru Watanabe opened the shoe cabinet and took out his shoes. It's just like cigarettes. They're obviously a super popular item, but they're not allowed to advertise it. They even have to state that smoking is harmful to your health. In other words, a tennis skirt without safety pants is as harmful to your health as cigarettes? Rin Kiyono put the indoor shoes in the shoe cabinet. For Watanabe-san's health, it's better for me to wear safety pants. We're not kids anymore. We're both 16 years old. It's okay. Rin Kiyono closed the shoe cabinet door with a little force and stared coldly at Toru Watanabe. What are you trying to do by telling a girl these things in the middle of the night? I'm only telling it to you. Should I be happy? It's okay if you're sad. I'll comfort you from night to morning. Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly with a headache. She turned around and walked toward the exit of the school building without saying a word. Wait for me. I'm afraid of the dark. Toru Watanabe quickly closed the shoe cabinet and followed her. It was already 9:30 when they returned to the rented house from school. Toru Watanabe came out of the shower. There was a message from 4 minutes ago online. Osamu Kunai invited him to play PlayerUnknown's Battleground. When he turned on his recently bought desktop and joined the team, he found that other than Keisuke Saito, Aoi Ichiki was also there. Good evening, Kun Watanabe. Oh, good evening. His phone vibrated. There was a message in the trio's line group. You two cover for me. Make sure I look handsome in front of Itsuki classmate today. Kunai, you're already very handsome. Ha ha ha, Watanabe, you're indeed my best friend. Keisuke Saito sent an emoji of a Kumaman riding a small electric stove, but they didn't know what it meant. My skills aren't that good. I'm responsible for saving people. Aoi Ichiki's voice came from the voice chat, pulling the trio's attention back to the game. Keisuke Saito didn't say anything. Osamu Kunai didn't say anything either. Toru Watanabe was really speechless. How could he find a girlfriend like this? If these two had half of his skills, Aoi Ichiki would have already. It didn't seem like she could do it. Oh. Toru Watanabe could only stand up. The voice chat fell into silence. The silence lasted until they got on the plane. Only then did they start talking about the game. Osamu Kunai was indeed very good. His marksmanship was very accurate, but he was impulsive. He would pick up a gun as soon as he landed. This wasn't bad. The worst thing was that he cherished his life very much. As long as he was knocked down, regardless of whether he could be saved or not, he would say, I can save you. I can save you. I can really save you. Hurry up and save me. Keisuke Saito and Toru Watanabe had already been fooled. Unless there was a smoke bomb, they would definitely ignore him. Aoi Ichiki played with them for the first time. As soon as Osamu Kunai said that he could save her, she would immediately rush over. 9 out of 10 times, she would be knocked down midway. Towards the end of the game, she even ignored Osamu Kunai's cries for help. However, even if no one came to save him, Osamu Kunai wouldn't be angry even if he died. He would just keep saying things like, if I survive this wave, I'll kill them all. Or, there's no one to fight for you, right? Serves you right. At midnight, Toru Watanabe prepared to go offline. It's Saturday tomorrow. Let's play for a while more. Osamu Kunai urged him to stay. It's okay. Ah-san asked me to play tennis tomorrow. Ah-san? Who's that? Keisuke Saito asked. Is it Kiyono, classmate? Aoi Ichiki was indeed a girl. She was more sensitive and immediately guessed it. Kiyono, classmate? Why is it Ah-san? Osamu Kunai still didn't understand. Idiot. Keisuke Saito scolded. What's the first letter of the Roman pronunciation of Ling? Ling. Rin Arya Y. I understand. Osamu Kunai finally understood. That's it. I'm going offline. Toru Watanabe clicked to leave the team. After Toru Watanabe left, there was one less person among the four. Aoi Ichiki didn't want to play anymore. Sorry, I have to go to school tomorrow. I'll rest first today. Okay, good luck Itsuki, classmate. The national competition is important. Osamu Kunai said with a nodding tone. Good night. Okay, good night. Have a good dream. After Aoi Ichiki went offline, Keisuke Saito pinched his throat. Okay, good night, have a good dream. Saito. I'm going to vomit. Koi, can you not speak with such a girly voice? October 10th. Saturday. It was a sunny day, but it wasn't hot at all. The sky was blue and the clouds were pure white. It was very beautiful. If you want to say how beautiful it was, well, it was like a tennis miniskirt without safety pants. Do you know how beautiful it was? Since he had promised to come to school, Toru Watanabe didn't waste any time. He went to the music classroom at 7 in the morning. When he opened the classroom door, Mayasahi was alone inside. She was oiling the piston valve of the bass horn. The transparent liquid flowed through the silver surface of the metal part. As long as it was slid up and down, the liquid would spread all over the metal part. After making sure that the piston was moving smoothly, she turned back to the fixed part. Good morning, Minami-senpai. Toru Watanabe took the initiative to greet her. Mayasahi raised her head and looked at him quietly. Then, she gently put down the bass horn, got up, and leaned her whole body against him. Wait, senpai, your hand. Toru Watanabe quickly pressed her shoulder. Mayasahi was confused for a second. She raised her hand. Her slender hand was covered in oil, and he could faintly smell the pungent metallic smell. Senpai, go wash your hands first. Toru, help me wash, Mayasahi said softly. It's 7 now. The others will be here soon. Toru, help me wash. Mayasahi leaned over. They were so close that they could see each other's eyes clearly. Time. Toru, help me wash. I really don't. It's okay. Just be quick. Okay. Toru Watanabe couldn't persuade her. The two walked out of the music room and went to the wash basin in the corridor. Toru Watanabe turned on the tap and squeezed some foam hand soap from the wash basin on his hand. Hurry up, senpai. He grabbed Mayasahi's hand and put it in the water. Mayasahi pulled her hand back and said in her unique calm voice, Toru, from behind. From behind? Toru Watanabe looked at her in confusion. Yeah. Mayasahi approached the sink and bent over slightly. Hurry up. They're coming. Minami-senpai. Senpai, you mean to wash your hands, right? Mayasahi turned her head slightly and looked at him in confusion. Toru, do you want to do it? It's not convenient for me. You can lift up my skirt yourself. I don't want to. I see. Mayasahi's calm voice revealed a hint of regret. At this time, Toru Watanabe, who had been vigilant of his surroundings, looked at the school gate from the corridor window and saw Aoi Ichiki and Yoshimi Tamamo standing under the oak tree, pointing at the branches. Let's wash up. He hurriedly hugged Linen Asami from behind, his hands full of foam grabbed her hands, and together they reached into the water from the faucet. Mayasahi sighed quietly, her milk-white face quickly turning red. Toru Watanabe smelled the faint fragrance of shampoo or shower gel on her body and quickly washed the oil stains on her hands. Toru, between your fingers. What? You have to wash between your fingers too. Toru Watanabe rubbed her fingers one by one. Toru, you're very energetic. My Asahi gently moved her butt. Don't say this kind of thing out loud. After quickly washing up, Toru Watanabe let out a long breath. It's done. It's not done. My Asahi grabbed his hand and didn't let him go. Senior. Yitsuki-san and Tamamo classmate are already here. My Asahi didn't answer. She just grabbed Toru Watanabe's hand and felt the intensity of the water from the tap together. After a while. Senior Mai, is it done? Toru Watanabe whispered urgently. He was really afraid that Aoi Ichiki and Yoshimi Tamamo would suddenly appear in the corridor and see the two of them in an ambiguous position. Why didn't I hear the sound of Senior practicing today? She's not here yet. That can't be. Senior is always the first. Maybe she's maintaining her instrument. The sound of indoor shoes on the steps was getting closer and closer. Senior. Toru Watanabe urged her urgently in her ear. Linen Asami squinted her eyes and bit her lower lip. Her cheeks that outlined her soft curves were dyed with a blush. Toru Watanabe saw that she was enjoying herself and was indifferent to the outside world. His heart was in a mess and he was in a panic. If this continued, he would definitely be caught cheating. When the news spread, he would be killed by Miki Kujo. He couldn't care too much. Toru Watanabe opened his mouth and bit my Asahi's red ear. His tongue played with it twice. Taking advantage of my Asahi's weak body, Toru Watanabe hurriedly withdrew his hands. Then, he pressed on a hand sanitizer a few times and moved to another sink, pretending that he had just come out of the toilet to wash his hands. After doing all this, Aoi Ichiki and Yoshimi Tamamo appeared in the corridor on the third floor. Senior, good morning. Aoi Ichiki quickly walked over and quietly wedged herself between my Asahi and Toru Watanabe. It was as if she was guarding that position. My Asahi nodded lightly. Aoi Ichiki looked at my Asahi's slightly red face and swallowed her saliva. She was stunned for a moment. Yoshimi Tamamo walked over and noticed that there were bubbles around the sink. She glared at Toru Watanabe, who was playing with the bubbles. Toru Watanabe pretended that he didn't see anything. He washed the bubbles off his hands, casually shook his hands, and turned to walk into the music room. He didn't go with them. He moved the chair and music stand to the corridor. Before Rin Kiyono arrived, he faced the courtyard and practiced his oboe. What are you doing? Rin Kiyono looked at his lonely back. Reflecting. You actually know how to reflect? Rin Kiyono's surprised expression didn't seem intentional. I admit that I'm a person who almost never makes mistakes, but sometimes it's inevitable that I do. What did you do wrong? I shouldn't have come to school today for Kiyono classmate's tennis skirt. Then are you going back? No. Toru Watanabe closed the music score. For Kiyono classmate, I'm willing to make any mistakes. Is that so? Rin Kiyono tucked her black hair behind her ears. So let's get started. Toru Watanabe stood up and said eagerly, Do you need me to help you change? Thank you, but no need. Rin Kiyono returned to the activity room of the Human Observation Department and changed into her tennis attire. It seems a little shorter than the last time I wore it. Rin Kiyono tugged at the hem of her skirt, slightly unaccustomed to it. Toru Watanabe looked at her soft thighs under the light blue skirt. Ah-san, you're amazing. T-san, you're really disgusting. Chapter 139. Bam. 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 The tennis court was surrounded by a tall barbed wire fence, and there was a very rhythmic sound, like a drum. Toru Watanabe sat cross-legged on the ground, playing with the tennis racket in his hand, like Uchiha Madara playing with his round fan. Following his line of sight, he could see Rin Kiyono hitting the ball against the wall. She skillfully chased the rebounded ball and hit it back. The green tennis balls were gathered in different places every time, but they were all where Rin Kiyono wanted to hit. Her tennis skills were superb. It didn't matter how she did it. Toru Watanabe's eyes never left the short skirt. Before Rin Kiyono exhausted her strength, her body was agile and vigorous, like a player's fingers playing an instrument, like a dancing elf in the forest, or like a dancer on the dance floor. Her sneakers rubbed against the ground, making a bam, bam sound of friction. The skirt covering her thighs was either lifted by the wind, or swayed up and down because of her own movements. The safety pants were white, like denim shorts, but the fabric looked soft. No, it didn't look soft. It was definitely soft. After all, Toru Watanabe helped Miki Kujo take it off. Although at that time, he didn't care about the feel of the clothes at all, but thanks to his excessively good memory, that feeling still remained in his mind. Huff, huff. Rin Kiyono gasped and stopped, hiding the safety pants under her skirt. She stood in the same place, weakly raised her head, and took a little rest. The sun shone through the gaps between the barbed wire fence and the shade of the trees. Although it was cut into threads, the light still followed her beautiful figure. The sun gently kissed her face, reflecting her white skin. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but squint. Rin Kiyono came over with a tennis racket and a tennis ball. I'm really not suitable for long-term sports. It doesn't matter. This kind of thing can be done as long as one of us is physically strong. Leave the tiring work to me. Rin Kiyono lifted her bangs and sighed, holding the shiny black tennis ball in her hand. Later, go run a kilometer on the field by yourself. Yes. While she was feeling the breeze with her forehead, Toru Watanabe raised his head and looked under the light blue tennis skirt. Arsan. Arsan. What are you doing? Seino Rin's warm palm landed on Toru Watanabe's face as he was about to raise his head. Toru Watanabe, who was looking up, could only see darkness and light particles when he closed his eyes. What are you trying to do, Watanabe? It's not like I haven't seen it before. Don't be so petty. Rin Kiyono ignored him. Because she blocked his view with her hand, her bangs fell down again. She switched to the hand holding the tennis racket and used the back of her hand to lift up her bangs again. There was a moment of silence. Kiyono classmate, can I see your face? No. Why? You know the reason. What is the reason? I don't know. Toru Watanabe was puzzled. The hand on his face could be flung away with a slight twist of his neck, but Toru Watanabe didn't do that. Kiyono classmate. Yoshimi Tamamo and the others ran over from afar. Rin Kiyono let go of her hand. This is permission, right? Toru Watanabe took the opportunity. Ugh. This time, the tennis racket was pressed against his handsome face. But it didn't matter, it wasn't over yet. Even if the muscles on his face were divided into small squares by the tennis racket, even if the bridge of his nose was crooked, his eyes would continue to fight. Go, my eyes, hit them to the other side. Yoshimi Tamamo squeezed between the two and aimed her but at Toru Watanabe. Looking at the dust on Yoshimi Tamamo's skirt, Toru Watanabe sighed, patted his butt, and stood up, making sure that there was no dust on his butt. Why is the heavens so mean to me? Rin Kiyono noticed his actions, and then saw his regretful expression, and the corners of her mouth rose slightly. Seeing Rin Kiyono smile, Yoshimi Tamamo couldn't control herself and hugged her. Please stay away from me, Tamamo classmate. Our relationship isn't good enough for physical contact. Ah, sorry, Kiyono classmate is too cute. Hee hee. Yoshimi Tamamo's silly smile made Rin Kiyono's body tremble subconsciously, and it caused a strong psychological discomfort. It was worse than Toru Watanabe looking at her underwear. She pushed the hair hanging over her shoulder. Tamamo classmate, why did you come to the tennis court? Right, it's like this, we don't have any experience in ensemble, so we came to ask Kiyono classmate for help. Sorry, I'm also practicing right now. So it's like that. Yoshimi Tamamo, as well as the head of the performance department, showed a disappointed expression. Go, it's fine, you can take a break. Toru Watanabe persuaded, but he didn't expect Rin Kiyono to know about ensemble. Xingzhua meant to play while walking. Of course, it's not just walking, but also using a variety of mysterious dance steps. By the way, when playing, girls usually wear short skirts, but they also wear safety pants. Rin Kiyono thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "Okay, I'll go take a look." "I'll go with you." "What are you going to do?" Yoshimi Tamamo pouted with dissatisfaction, touched her lips with lipstick, and said, "You're not participating in the sports festival." "I'm going to run a kilometer. Do I need your permission?" "Humph." Yoshimi Tamamo turned her head away. When she saw Toru Watanabe, she remembered how he touched her but on the Meiji Shrine Yuen's tram. "Kiyono classmate, let's go." She grabbed Rin Kiyono's arm and pulled her toward the tennis court's entrance. "Tamamo classmate, wait a moment." Rin Kiyono pulled her arm away, turned around, and handed her tennis racket and tennis ball to Toru Watanabe. "Forget about the kilometer, you can return it, and then borrow a pair of badminton." "Yes, head." The two members of the Human Observation Department stayed on the field all day, doing all kinds of training. The weather wasn't hot, and it was a holiday, so there weren't many people. After the rehearsal, the performance department also practiced the national competition song in the stands. Because it was a Saturday, at 7 o'clock, Rin Kiyono directly announced that they were dismissed. Toru Watanabe went home, took a shower, and immediately went out, slowly walking toward Shibuya Station. The station platform was crowded with people, and from time to time, a tram whizzed past, setting off a burst of cold wind. 20 minutes later, Toru Watanabe came down from the main force line, walked alone through the station to the ground exit, and the bustling street scene of Chiyoda came into view. It was almost the middle of October, and it was almost the maple leaf season. Under the lights, the street trees were dyed with warm red or yellow colors. The fashionable girls on the street, even at night, were wearing light skirts. Men with dyed brown or yellow hair went up to talk to them with smiles. Toru Watanabe withdrew his gaze and got into a taxi on the side of the road. "Jinbocho Kanda, 1 Chome. Are you going shopping?" "No, my girlfriend lives there." Through the rearview mirror, the taxi driver looked at Toru Watanabe's expensive daily clothes, and the watch on his wrist, silently turned on the lights, stepped on the gas, and let the car merge into the traffic. At a crossroads in Jinbocho, he got off the car. Toru Watanabe walked toward Miki Kujo's villa, while calling her. "I'm in Kanda." "Okay." "Sleep here tonight." "Sleep on the street?" "I'll have someone send you a quilt." "No, I want Miki to send me a quilt, right? Remember to take a shower, I've already taken a shower." Laughter came from the other side of the phone. It was Kujo's mother. "Hurry up and come," Miki Kujo snappily said, and then hung up the phone. Toru Watanabe felt a little embarrassed. He didn't expect Kujo's mother to be in Chiyoda. But today, he received a lot of stimulation. Thinking about it, he still didn't turn around. But with a parent here, it wasn't appropriate to go empty-handed. He strolled around the neighborhood, looking for suitable gifts. Kanda was no stranger to Toru Watanabe. He accompanied Miki Kujo to shop here many times, bought clothes, had a meal, and even watched a movie. The most important impression was that there were many bookstores. Giving a gift to a rich girlfriend was a very troublesome thing. Toru Watanabe really couldn't think of a good gift, and didn't want to waste time, so he went to the flower shop to buy a bunch of sunflowers. The shop assistant wrapped it for him with a very English-style newspaper. "Sorry to keep you waiting." "No problem, thank you." Toru Watanabe took the flowers. "Is it for your girlfriend?" "No, it's for my girlfriend's mother." "Eh?" The shop assistant was stunned. "Can't I?" "No, it's not." The shop assistant's face flushed. "Please don't misunderstand, the words of the sunflowers also have the meaning of unspoken love." This time, it was Toru Watanabe's turn to be speechless. "Yep, that's why I bought it." Under the shop assistant's widened and knowledgeable gaze, Toru Watanabe left the flower shop with the flowers. He strolled to Miki Kujo's residence. The maid saw him from afar and opened the door. Toru Watanabe looked around the front yard. There were all kinds of flowers here, and there was a gardener in charge of taking care of and pruning them. Of course, the sunflowers in season were not absent. Looking at the sunflowers in his hand, he walked into the brightly lit little mansion. Miki Kujo and her mother were playing chess to pass the time. When they saw him walk in, they looked up at him, then continued to look at the chessboard. Toru Watanabe walked over, and it was Miki Kujo's turn. The maid brought him some tea. Kujo's mother, who was getting younger and younger, smiled as she looked at the sunflower in his hand, flirting with the yellow petals. "This is for Miki?" "Yep, I just picked it in the yard," Toru Watanabe said. Kujo's mother chuckled like a young girl. Toru Watanabe took a vase, removed the original flower, and put his own sunflower in it. After Miki Kujo moved the chess piece, she looked at Toru Watanabe. "What are you doing here tonight?" "I missed you." Toru Watanabe sat down next to her. "How sweet." Kujo's mother glanced at the chessboard and stood up gracefully. "I won't disturb you anymore. I'll go back to sleep tonight. I'm going to win." Miki Kujo looked at her mother. "Don't let down your guard until the last moment and think you've won. How many times did I tell you this when I was teaching you?" Miki Kujo looked coldly at her mother, who was lecturing her. "Kuan Watanabe, tell me, do I make sense?" Kujo's mother looked at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe looked at his girlfriend and said indifferently, "I don't know how to play chess." "You'll start learning today." Kujio Miyoshi placed the king's piece in front of him. "Ah, today. If you haven't learned it, don't sleep." Toru Watanabe looked at Kujo's mother. "Auntie, I don't think what you said makes sense." "I see. Then I won't leave tonight. I haven't slept with my daughter for a long time." Toru Watanabe looked at Miki Kujo again. "It's not bad for the two of us to stay up all night to learn how to play chess. What do you think?" "What do I think?" Miki Kujo reached out and pinched his ear. "I think it's best if you go back now." "Don't. I'm already here. Even if I don't do anything, at least let me sleep here." After Kujo's mother left, Miki Kujo went to take a shower. Toru Watanabe held an introductory chess book and played chess with himself as he read. He was smart to begin with. In order to get a good night's sleep tonight, his brain worked even faster. It didn't take him long to understand the rules and memorize the basic moves. He could tell Rin Kiyono about this tomorrow. Under the circumstances of temptation, people could indeed unleash their potential. He closed the book. Miki Kujo hadn't finished showering yet. He took a milk candy from the table and ate it. It was different from the ones on the market. The milk flavor was very rich and pure, but it had one thing in common: it stuck to his teeth. Toru Watanabe took 2 bites, and the softened milk candy stuck to his molars. He poked at it with his tongue. He couldn't take it anymore. He swallowed the candy, got up, and went into the misty bathroom. Miki Kujo was in the simple and luxurious bathtub. Her shoulders were red from soaking in the hot water. She wasn't surprised to see him come in. She only said, "Wash yourself first." "I just took a shower." "Don't come in until you're clean." The water flowed down from the shower, forming a transparent waterfall that extended to Toru Watanabe's head. A minute later, he turned off the water, slipped into the bathtub, and hugged Miki Kujo's body from behind. A few strands of black hair stuck to her white neck. Toru Watanabe put his mouth on it. Miki Kujo tilted her head slightly. After taking a while, the two of them returned to the bedroom. Miki Kujo leaned on the bed, holding a tablet in her hand. All kinds of data and information flowed through it. Toru Watanabe sat on the bed and cut his nails. He accidentally hung on her just now. "It's done." He was about to pounce on her when Miki Kujo put her foot on his chest. "Help me cut it." Toru Watanabe's gaze fell on her exposed thighs under her skirt. He swallowed his saliva subconsciously. With one glance, Toru Watanabe could see that her exposed calves were very firm. They were completely different from Rin Kiyono's soft and boneless legs. He held her calloused foot with one hand and trimmed her toenails with the other. The toenails weren't long. They were already neat and beautiful. Toru Watanabe only needed to touch them up a little before they were done. Then, he started from her foot, to her calf, to her thigh. He covered himself with a blanket and went all the way up. When he touched Miki Kujo's chin, she hit him impatiently and he went back to her chest. Miki Kujo looked at the tablet in her hand for a while. Her face became redder and redder. She sighed from time to time. Her full breasts moved up and down with her breathing. She threw the tablet aside and pulled the blanket up with her snow-white arms. She hid her head under the blanket. Chapter 140. She was on a large white bed. The window was slightly open, and the light and thin curtains swayed like jellyfish in the breeze. Miki Kujo's long hair was loose, and her adorable body was slightly curled up. The quilt in front of her chest moved up and down, and she breathed softly. After a while, she turned over in her sleep, and her hair was pulled painfully. She didn't open her eyes, but raised her hand and patted the other side of the bed, but she only patted the soft quilt. After a while, Miki Kujo yawned and sat up. The quilt slipped off, and the new pajamas on her upper body were full of wrinkles. The buttons on her chest were even broken. This was her second set of pajamas from yesterday. She said that she would sleep in it, but it was still ruined. The person who made the clothes like this was already gone. She had accidentally pressed down her long hair just now. She took off her pajamas and went to the bathroom to take a quick shower. She put on a comfortable woman's blouse and a corset dress and slowly went downstairs. The maid immediately prepared breakfast and put it on the table. Miki Kujo ate while reading the documents that she should have finished last night. After eating the usual amount, she still felt that it wasn't enough, so she asked the maid to make more. While reading the documents, she noticed the sunflowers in the vase. They were crooked, and some of the withered petals were not plucked, and the extra leaves were not removed. When the national orchestral competition is over, I'll let him learn how to arrange flowers. Just as she was thinking about this, she suddenly heard the faint sound of running water from the backyard. Miki Kujo's face immediately turned ugly. The backyard was the swimming pool. She didn't like others touching her, including her belongings. Even her clothes were worn by herself, and she couldn't let anyone into the swimming pool. "Who's behind?" she asked the maid beside her. The maid was frightened by her gloomy expression and lowered her head. She put her hands in front of her and answered in a panic, "It's young Master Watanabe." Miki Kujo was stunned. She originally thought that it was some suicidal maid, but she didn't expect it to be Toru Watanabe. This person usually went back early in the morning for his morning exercise, but he didn't leave today? "Go, tell him to lower his voice." "Yes." The maid quickly and silently walked towards the swimming pool. After a while she was drinking her second glass of milk, Toru Watanabe walked in with his shirt unbuttoned. "Your pool is too small. It's not for you to work out," Miki Kujo said perfunctorily as she put down her cup and looked at the tablet. Toru Watanabe walked over and drank her milk, but he still felt thirsty. He said to the maid, "Please bring 2 more cups." "Yes." "I don't need it," Miki Kujo said lazily. After the maid left, she glanced at Toru Watanabe, who was buttoning his shirt. "Why didn't you go back today?" "I don't need to practice my oboe anymore." "Haven't you been practicing with Kiyono for the past 2 days?" Miki Kujo said indifferently. "That's what I do when I have nothing to do." "Then you have something to do today?" "What's the matter?" "To accompany you." "I have to work." "Then you accompany me." Miki Kujo pursed her lips in disgust and looked away. "Thank you." Toru Watanabe took the milk from the maid and sat down next to Miki Kujo. "How about we go shopping later and see what movies there are?" "Didn't I tell you I have a job?" "Then I'll help you." "I can learn from you." "You?" "Just focus on being a son-in-law and don't think about useless things." Miki Kujo put her right leg on her left leg, and the slipper on her left foot was hanging on the tip of her foot. "Are you looking down on me?" Toru Watanabe took a sip of milk. Am I the kind of person who covets your family's property? Aren't you? I'm doing this for your body, Mickey. You're always talking nonsense. Be honest. Then are you going or not? Toru Watanabe urged. No. Then go. Can't you hear what I'm saying? Miki Kujo looked up and said sternly. The book I read says that girls' words should be interpreted the other way around. Besides, you said you were going to sleep last night, but didn't you still play with me until after midnight? Miki Kujo stretched out her left foot, separated the first and second toes, and clamped the flesh on Toru Watanabe's waist. Who woke me up? It's because you're too beautiful, and it's because I love you too much. Toru Watanabe picked up her foot, put it on his lap, and gently squeezed it. Don't make it sound so nice. I'm only lustful to you. That's why Mickey is with you. Try being lustful to other people. Miki Kujo said in an indifferent tone. Sorry, I can't do that. I don't have feelings for other people. Toru Watanabe refused resolutely. The maids were amused by him. Miki Kujo glanced around, and they immediately quieted down. I've already asked for leave today. Are you going or not? Toru Watanabe patted the beautiful leg in his hand. Miki Kujo didn't say anything, and looked at the tablet in her hand. If you're not saying anything, it means you agree. Toru Watanabe put her leg down, finished the milk in one gulp, and stood up. Let's go and change. He walked behind Miki Kujo, picked her up, and went upstairs. On the stairs, Miki Kujo nestled in his arms and yawned. Aren't your legs weak? Your legs are weak. Toru Watanabe lowered his head and asked. No. Looking at her cold eyes, Toru Watanabe wisely chose to keep quiet. Miki Kujo lived up to her name. Her cloakroom was similar to the boutiques in the Aoyama shopping district. It was a large space about 4 meters high, and there were the latest seasonal clothes from various brands. Recently, men's clothes would also be sent to make it convenient for Toru Watanabe to change when he came to stay overnight. What do you want to wear? Toru Watanabe put her down on the sofa in the cloakroom. Nothing. You can't be born naked. I won't allow that. You can only be seen by me. Yes, yes. Miki Kujo lay on the sofa, looking exhausted. How about dressing up like a commoner today? Yes. Miki Kujo answered lazily. You choose. Toru Watanabe looked through the rows and chose a black short-sleeved shirt with a string of English letters printed on it. Then he chose a dark red sweater with a pair of jeans. He chose a black and red baseball jacket and black casual pants. After changing, without looking at the price, the two of them looked no different from an ordinary high school couple, except that they were a little better looking. They didn't take a car. Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo held hands and walked out of the villa area. They walked along the Mitsuda line to the bookstore area. It was October 11th, a Sunday afternoon, and the weather was clear. The streetcar rumbled past, and the sun shone through the yellow leaves on the street, caressing every passerby. There were couples walking towards them. The girlfriend held her boyfriend's hand and looked at him with a smile. The boyfriend also smiled back. The two of them whispered. 3 female university students sat on chairs by the roadside, holding crepes in their hands. They put their heads together and took selfies with pouting lips. A group of men brushed past each other and pushed each other. One man jumped onto another man's back and almost crushed him to the ground. On the opposite side of the road, there was an old man with a dog and another woman with a shopping bag. They were waiting for the traffic light at the intersection. The two of them walked for about 10 minutes. Miki Kujo felt her body heat up. She took off half of her sweater and hung it on her wrist. Her figure was thin, but it was very comfortable to touch. Because of this natural and elegant thinness, it accentuated the bulging of her chest. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but reach out and put his arms around her beautiful slender waist. It's so hot. Miki Kujo let him hold her and gently fanned herself. Let's find a place to rest. Let's go there. Toru Watanabe pointed to a bookstore by the roadside. His eyes fell on her small white ears. Miki Kujo nodded. There was no air conditioning in the bookstore, but perhaps because there were more books and fewer people, and because there was a basement level, the temperature was much lower than outside. The two of them went down the stairs to the basement level and walked to a corner. Toru Watanabe sat down on a chair in front of the bookshelf that was decorated as a staircase. "Why don't you sit too?" Toru Watanabe moved to the side of the staircase railing to give up his seat. Miki Kujo looked at the stairs and disliked it, but she still sat down next to him. "It's better to work at home than to come to a place like this," she said. "How can that be? And this is just the beginning. Your stamina is too weak. Then tell me, what's the point of this place?" "Reading." Toru Watanabe leaned his upper body in front of her and looked at the bookshelf by the stairs. He scanned the rows of books that could be seen. "Stray birds? That's it. I'll read you Tagore's poem. Can you be any more boring?" Miki Kujo crossed her arms and said angrily. Toru Watanabe thought for a moment and had to admit, "It's a little boring." Probably no one would come to a bookstore on a Sunday with their girlfriend. Even if they did, they wouldn't sit here and read Tagore to their girlfriend. Toru Watanabe wouldn't either. However, other than Tagore, the books beside him were all poetry collections by poets he didn't know. Polish female writers, All Things Are Silent Like a Mystery, Miling Kaneko's, All Like It, American poets, Leaves of Grass, British poets, selected poems of Wordsworth. Who knew these? He had to thank his country for including Stray Birds in the college entrance examination. Otherwise, Toru Watanabe would only know that Tagore was an Indian poet, but not the author of Stray Birds. Toru Watanabe patted Miki Kujo's plump thigh with his right hand as a way of comforting her. Then, he flipped open Stray Birds with his left hand. It was so new that it looked like it had just been bought, but it had already been a while. Man is a newborn child. His strength is the strength of growth. After he finished reading, Toru Watanabe turned his head to look at Miki Kujo. "What do you mean? You're asking me? I don't understand either." Toru Watanabe subconsciously touched the flesh on her thigh and continued reading, "I have stars in the sky, but sigh, the small light in my room is not on. Sigh. Tagore can actually win the Nobel Prize for Literature? Wait a minute, Miki, your words are too rude. If you don't understand, it only proves that you're not educated enough, or that your aesthetic standards are different. You're the first in the liberal arts, do you understand? I'll read it again. Maybe I'll understand." Miki Kujo rolled her eyes at Toru Watanabe and waved his hand away. Toru Watanabe did not linger on the touch of her thigh. He held the book in one hand and flipped through the pages with the other. After reading for a while he said, "Ah, this is a good line. Read it." Miki Kujo responded softly. She rested her elbows on her knees, cupped her face in her hands, and looked at the poetry book in his hand. A melancholy voice built its nest in the flowing water of time. It sang to me at night. After reading, Toru Watanabe turned his head to look at Miki Kujo again. "I love you. I love you. Isn't your reaction too cold? I'm saying, I love you. Aren't you reciting a poem? This is called expressing one's emotions through poetry." Toru Watanabe made a gesture of inspiration. "Ah, haven't I already resonated with Tagore? Miki, maybe in the future your boyfriend, will be the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature." "That's hard to say." Miki Kujo held her chin, raised her face, and looked into his eyes with a smile. He held the poetry book in his hand. If one ignored his nonsense, his manner of speaking was very youthful. Toru Watanabe also looked at Miki Kujo. Facing the dim and bright light of the basement, her beautiful face was dyed soft gold. Looking at this face that belonged to him, his heart was filled with sweetness and happiness. "Miki, my beautiful princess, can I kiss you?" he said softly with a smile. "Tagore said this too? If you lie to me, I'll punish you. Tagore once said that silence is a virtue, but silence in front of the person you like is cowardice, so he will be happy to admit that he said that sentence just now. Smooth talker. Miki Kujo scolded with a sneer. Okay, I said it, but it doesn't matter. Toru Watanabe threw Tagore and his collection of stray birds aside and reached out to hold Miki Kujo in his arms. Is there anything else you want to say? He pressed his forehead against hers and whispered, If not, I'm going to kiss you. I allow it. The queen in Toru Watanabe's arms ordered. Toru Watanabe looked into her eyes, and Miki Kujo also looked into his eyes. There was no shyness between them, only warmth and sweetness. Toru Watanabe put his arm around her shoulders and kissed her quietly. Miki Kujo's shoulders trembled slightly, and then her body became soft as usual. 13 seconds later, the two separated. Miki, my beautiful princess, I love you. Toru Watanabe's sigh sounded between their slightly separated lips. I also love you. Her long black hair fell over her shoulders, and Miki Kujo's sweet fragrance lingered at the tip of Toru Watanabe's nose. In the underground bookstore of Jinbocho Kanda, the two kissed intimately again. After enough time had passed for Toru Watanabe to memorize Collection of Stray Birds, the two were ready to leave the empty second-hand bookstore. When he got up, Toru Watanabe accidentally stepped on Miki Kujo's cardigan that had slipped off at some point. She glared at him but didn't say anything. Toru Watanabe helped her pat the dust off and went to the counter to buy Collection of Stray Birds. Chapter 141. He spent 2 busy nights in Chiyoda. The 9 beautiful concubines were different from their usual sweet and hazy voices. There was a faint trace of moisture in their voices. It was truly too wonderful for words. After a simple wash, Toru Watanabe took a blood medicine and ran in the direction of the Kokyo after rejecting the maid's breakfast. His blood was rushing, and his body was in a state of complete sobriety. Every step on the sidewalk was like stepping on springs, and the ground was cooperating with him. His spirit was even more radiant. Even if he was asked to do the thing he hated the most, he could still maintain an optimistic and happy state of mind. Toru Watanabe was originally full of confidence, and now he was even more spirited. The pedestrians on the street couldn't help but look at him. Occasionally, when their eyes met, they would be subconsciously affected by his spirit. Their bodies itched, and they wanted to run with him to exercise their bodies. When he was about to reach Shotoku Hall, the light blue transparent panel shook slightly. You have a new mail. Stamina, 8-9. The blood medicine was amazing when used with exercise. By the end of October, he would basically reach the limit of his stamina after finishing this bottle. Toru Watanabe originally wanted to buy a bottle for his parents. Now it seems that he should secretly give them 1 pill every year when he goes back home to keep them healthy and not get sick. He washed his face at the water table in the roadside park, took the Shinjuku line, and transferred to the Chugoku line in the city, and returned to the rental house in the valley. After taking a shower, he put on his uniform, locked the door, and went to school. He didn't know when the uphill road that troubled him in the spring had become very easy. This was subtly influenced by his daily life. He couldn't remember the specific time, but it should have been before he took the blood medicine. Good morning, Watanabe. Osamu Kunai pushed Toru Watanabe's left shoulder and came out from his right. You're in good spirits. What's wrong? Did you make progress with Aoi Ichiki? Toru Watanabe put his collapsed backpack back on. He. Toru Watanabe was curious. It was a female comrade. What's the situation? We're starting to play in pairs. Congratulations. Toru Watanabe pretended to be happy for him. A female cyclist wearing a Kamigawa uniform overtook the 2 people who were walking slowly. She stood up and put her weight on the pedals, looking like she was having a hard time climbing. The rattling of the wheels echoed emptily. Osamu Kunai became a little shy and changed the topic. By the way, there's a mock exam this week. Are you confident? Toru Watanabe knew that this guy was going to mock him with the fact that he had been ranked 3rd for a long time, so he deliberately asked doubtfully, I don't need confidence to surpass you, right? Hey, Did you forget that I traded my M4 for your M16? That's because you want to appear generous in front of Aoi Ichiki. Don't think that I don't know. That's still the same. What are you two fighting about so early in the morning? Keisuke Saito, who had dark circles under his eyes, squeezed between the two. What's wrong with you? Did you get someone to serve you at your door? Osamu Kunai pointed at his eyes and teased him. As long as it's service at your door. In order to deal with the mock exam, I studied until 3 o'clock last night. You're too hard-working. While the two of them were chatting, Toru Watanabe saw Rin Kiyono, who was struggling to climb the slope in front of them. Her long, shiny black hair was very beautiful, and it cascaded down her back. When the three of them caught up with her, Toru Watanabe took the initiative to greet her. Good morning, Reiza-san. Reiza-san looked at him with crystal-clear eyes. Can't you see that I'm very tired? Don't talk to me now. You're too weak. Watanabe, you're number 1 in the liberal arts. Don't you understand the principle of those who work should be governed by others? Reiza-san, Tagore once said, don't blame your food because you don't have an appetite. You hate exercise, so you look down on those who work. I'm going to the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare to sue you. In order to defend yourself in every possible way, you actually said that day was night. Why are some people just unwilling to face the truth and deceive themselves that people are really equal? Tagore also said that. Rin Kiyono showed a contemptuous smile. You've only read Stray Birds, and you dare to talk to me about Tagore. I admire your courage, Watanabe. Seeing that Toru Watanabe had nothing to say, Rin Kiyono lifted her hair with a victorious air, passed the three of them, and took the lead to enter Kamigawa School. This guy. Toru Watanabe was so angry that he wanted to mess up her hair. A little distance away, Osamu Kunai pushed Keisuke Saito's shoulder and said arrogantly, You've only read Stray Birds, and you dare to talk to me about Tagore? Tagore said. I'm sorry, I was wrong, I won't do it again. Keisuke Saito continued with a posture of kneeling down to admit his mistake. Ha 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 ha. The two of them laughed mercilessly. What are you laughing at? Toru Watanabe looked at them. I deliberately joked with Reiza-san in order to make her forget about climbing the hill. This small act of gentleness increased her impression of me by at least 3%. Really? There's no girl who doesn't like me. Who cares about that kind of thing? We're saying that you deliberately joked. Is it true or not? Of course it's true. Toru Watanabe's expression was calm. Have you ever seen me lie? Osamu Kunai and Saito were a little convinced. After all, Toru Watanabe was indeed very popular with girls. Maybe he was very good at pleasing girls. Watanabe, I believe you. Can you teach me how to please classmate Itsuki? Osamu Kunai whispered. Drinks for lunch. My treat. What's the most important thing in chasing a girl? Gentleness. Honesty. Back then, when I was chasing after Meiji. During the morning class meeting, Aona Koizumi talked about the midterm exam. This exam is a national joint exam. After the exam, we'll have a face-to-face meeting according to your national deviation value ranking. Also, for students who fill in the enrollment questionnaire to go abroad, the outflow department will talk to you specifically. Students who want to go abroad later can ask me to change it. This will affect the second year's class placement, so please go home and discuss it with your parents. One last thing, please hurry up and register for the sports festival. The class president told me that there's still a lot of empty spots. After the first class ended, everyone talked about the class meeting. Why would going abroad affect class placement? Osamu Kunai asked. I heard that the school will purposely put students who go abroad in the same class, and then hire a foreign teacher to teach them. Even studying and traveling abroad will be done. Keisuke Saito explained. Are you guys planning to go abroad? Kazumi Ikeda, who was sitting in front of Toru Watanabe, turned around. Nope. The two shook their heads. What about Kuen Watanabe? Kazumi Ikeda asked Toru Watanabe, who was reading a book. Staying in Tokyo means going abroad for me. Wow, is this the advantage of being a citizen of Iwate Prefecture? Osamu Kunai deliberately made an exaggerated joke, which made Kazumi Ikeda laugh non-stop. Yep, you can understand it that way, Toru Watanabe said perfunctorily. Compared to going abroad, he was more interested in getting first place in the national entrance exam. For the first few exams, he chose liberal arts, while Kiyono and Kujo chose science. Later on, he chose science, but because he wasn't good enough, he didn't beat them. After that, he thought that the two of them would definitely run away and choose liberal arts, but in the end, they still chose science, which caused him to get first place in liberal arts again. This time, the national entrance exam didn't differentiate between liberal arts and science, and the exam content was limited to the first year of high school. It was time to put an end to this shameful Duan 3 joke. A week passed by quickly. In addition to studying, training, and exams, the student council president election also ended. Toru Watanabe didn't know who it was, but it definitely wasn't the two seniors who fought. Time gradually approached the end of October, and the weather suddenly became cold. 19th. Monday. On the way to school, Toru Watanabe saw that some girls had already put on scarves. He didn't know if they were trying to act cute or if they were really cold. Many boys were also wearing the school uniform's matching vest. The girls had already put it on, because they were cute, intellectual, and really afraid of the cold. But no matter what, isn't scarf a bit too exaggerated? Early in the morning, the trio started a boring discussion about how much do girls wear scarves for cuteness and how much do they keep out the cold. Vote for cuteness. Cuteness. Then I choose to keep out the cold. 2 votes for cuteness, 1 vote for keeping out the cold. The final result is cuteness. Any objections? No. Discussion over. Now I announce the result. Girls wear scarves for cuteness. It was such a boring discussion that it didn't matter if they didn't write it down. The morning meeting was different from the past. Koizumi Aonai directly handed out the report cards. Koi-san. Yes. Seitu-san. Yes. Wow, that's terrible. Osamu Kunai, who was still in high spirits as the arbitrator in the morning, looked at the results in his hands with a pale face and trembled. Keisuke Saito, who was in his seat, nodded vigorously in acceptance. Not bad. There's improvement. Watanabe. Yes. Aona Koizumi didn't immediately give the results to Toru Watanabe. Instead, she held it in her hands and looked at it for a while with an admiring expression. What's the matter? Toru Watanabe asked. First in the country, Watanabe. Really? Toru Watanabe suddenly felt that his opponent was so weak. He clearly hadn't studied hard. Yes, see for yourself. Aona Koizumi handed him the results. She couldn't help but smile on her beautiful oval face. The results of each subject were written on the results. The deviation and national rankings were also written at the back. There wasn't much to say about the deviation. The national rankings were written with a black pen with a 1. Let's see who still dares to call me Duan-san. Toru Watanabe vented his anger. Aona Koizumi couldn't help but smile. Okay, go back to your seats. The other students still have to get their results. Yes. During the day, the teachers of each subject handed out the papers. Toru Watanabe's answer sheet was filled with red circles. Not a single tick could be seen. I haven't seen such a beautiful answer sheet since elementary school. Osamu Kunai exclaimed as he held the answer sheet. Watanabe, what's your learning method? Keisuke Saito asked in admiration. The most important thing is to be honest. I need to be honest even when learning. What do you mean by not being honest? He wanted everything. Learning is more important. Whether you really know a question type or not, don't lie to yourself just because you answered 2 questions correctly. Yes, that makes sense. Keisuke Saito nodded. I thought I knew all the first grade knowledge, but I was ranked in the top 1,000 in the country. I made a lot of mistakes. Osamu Kanai looked at his ranking outside the top 3,000 and decided to believe that he was number one in the country and be an honest person. After school, Toru Watanabe walked briskly to the club building. Outside the corridor, the ginkgo trees in the atrium were beautiful. The golden almond leaves fell faster than the cherry blossoms, covering the circular stone path. In the flower beds, chrysanthemums, cherry blossoms, hibiscus, and roses competed for beauty. In the corner, the ferns began to sprout. Looking at his reflection in the glass, Toru Watanabe revealed a smile that all the girls found irresistible. On the field, the sound of the wind instruments playing in unison could be heard. The sports festival would be held in 2 days. Walking through the empty corridor, Toru Watanabe arrived at the activity classroom of the Human Observation Department. He pushed the door open and entered. Rin Kiyono was reading by the window. Miki Kujo was lying on the sofa. Her skirt was lifted, and her snow-white thighs were exposed. Toru Watanabe walked over and covered her with her skirt. Then, he sat in his seat and read without saying a word. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. The sun gradually set, and the activity classroom was dyed red. Toru Watanabe looked out the window and whispered in a voice that was gentle enough to melt a girl's heart, Todas las mujeres en algo hermoso, aunque son primaligena. No one paid him any attention. All women are attractive in their own way, even your distant cousin is no exception. He slammed the book, funny Spanish quotes, shut. Why do you think there's such an example in Spanish? It's ridiculous. Still, no one paid him any attention. But among these frivolous sayings, there's one that I especially like. Toru Watanabe tapped his fingers on the beach table and said, Nadia es perfecto. Attentamente. Nadia. The autumn evening was golden, and it dyed his school uniform with a layer of gold. Miki Kujo, who was lying on the sofa, said, Being the first in the first grade in the country makes you very proud. My personal pride is a small matter. As Miki's boyfriend, I'm fighting for the glory of the Kujo family. Miki Kujo chuckled in satisfaction. At this moment, Rin Kiyono finally raised her head and looked at him. It's really hard to understand your current mentality. Maybe it's because I've always been first, and this is the first time I'm second. Realizing that he couldn't afford to offend either of them, Toru Watanabe decided to follow his path of not arguing with women. What did you say when I discussed Spanish with you? This sentence, no one is perfect. Please note, I'm just not perfect. Don't you think it's fun? It's not fun. Because I'm perfect. Rin Kiyono said matter-of-factly. Kei-san. My Kei-san. Toru Watanabe waved to his girlfriend on the sofa. Listen, there's someone even more shameless than me. Miki Kujo giggled. The skirt that Toru Watanabe had helped her adjust slipped down, revealing large patches of white thighs. Rin Kiyono's face was livid, and she shot a sharp gaze at Toru Watanabe. I'm kidding, really. Toru Watanabe felt that the weather was indeed a little cold. He should have voted for warm up in the morning. Rin Kiyono slowly retracted her aggressive gaze. She couldn't be bothered to argue with him and closed her hardcover book. Today's club activity ends here. By the time they finished packing, changed their shoes, and walked out of the school building, the sky was already half dark. The street lights on both sides of the ramp were already lit. On the way to the station, Toru Watanabe asked Are-san whether girls wore scarves for cuteness or to keep out the cold, even though she didn't wear a scarf. Boys are really boring creatures. Rin Kiyono expressed her opinion about the discussion itself. Cuteness or keeping out the cold, she didn't say. The autumn night was as cold as water. The wind that followed the train into the station hit Toru Watanabe hard in the face. He suddenly felt that getting first place in the first grade wasn't a good thing. But Rin Kiyono didn't seem to be angry about this. Chapter 142. October 21st. Wednesday. The morning was unexpectedly cold. Girls were sitting in a row in the gymnasium, wearing knee-length black dresses. Slender, thick, fair, and tanned legs peeked out from under the dresses. The boys in Western-style uniforms were not quiet for a moment. They leaned on the shoulders of the people in front of them and looked around eagerly. "Quiet!" the PE teacher yelled, and everyone immediately sat up straight. The white-haired but energetic principal stood on the podium. He took out a piece of paper from the pocket of his old-fashioned suit and unfolded it slowly. He glanced at the paper and said one sentence. "In this golden autumn season full of harvest, all the teachers and students of Kamigawa High School welcome the 56th Sports Festival with joy and high spirits." By the time the boys and girls were familiar with each other, the principal's speech, which was short but long, finally came to an end. Before the sports festival begins, I would like to say one thing. In the recent national mock exam, our third-year student, Miyasahi, got third place in the country. The audience clapped in response. Also, first-year student, Toru Watanabe, got first place in the country. Applause. The principal led the applause. The applause finally became louder. So, before the sports festival begins, I would like to invite Toru Watanabe to speak as the student representative. Toru Watanabe. Yes. A stern voice sounded in the gymnasium. The boys looked desperate. Are you kidding me? Isn't this the opening ceremony of the sports festival? No, it's actually the opening ceremony. It's one thing to ask someone to speak, but why him? It should be a third-year senior, right? Kujo's son-in-law. Who else could it be? I'm so jealous of this guy. Not only does he have such a beautiful and rich girlfriend, but he's also handsome and has good grades. He's number 1 in the country. I heard that he was the main player in the trumpet club in the national competition. It's because he's handsome, has good grades, and is good at music that he can find a girlfriend like Kujo, right? That's disgusting. How can someone be so outstanding? The girls didn't care. Ever since the broadcast of the cultural festival Iwate Prefecture to Tokyo, 400 kilometers, Toru Watanabe's image of him hitting a girl had faded from their minds. Instead, he was replaced by the affectionate Toru Watanabe who always looked at Iwate Prefecture with his clear eyes while playing the oboe with a melancholy expression. Besides, it was more comfortable to sit here and admire the beautiful young man than to go to the sports field and sweat. Under their unwilling gazes, Toru Watanabe slowly walked forward. With a handsome and delicate face and a straight back, he fully displayed the confidence of being the number 1 in the country. Just like what Orison Marden said, some people have a special magic power. Before they start doing something, they always have full confidence in their own abilities, overcoming all difficulties and obstacles until they achieve victory. Toru Watanabe is someone who gives people such an impression. The above was Toru Watanabe's inner narration. After all, among the students of Kanagawa High School, he was probably the only one who would go out of his way to read Orison Marden's Theory of Success, and know that Orison Marden had said those words. Not necessarily. No matter when or where, be careful of Arsene. I'll write these words down on the front page of my notebook. While he was lost in his thoughts, Toru Watanabe had already walked onto the stage. He bowed to the principal and the teachers who were leaning against the wall, then walked to the front of the podium. Hello everyone, I'm Toru Watanabe from Year 1 Class 4. Thank you, Principal, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thinking back to the beginning of spring, when cherry blossoms were in full bloom, I was sitting below like everyone else, watching the freshman representative, Rin Kiyono, speak. From that moment on, I was thinking, why wasn't I the one standing on the stage? Why wasn't it me? Later, I found out that this guy was the eldest daughter of Kiyono's family. The audience roared with laughter. Rin Kiyono, who was hugging her knees, was expressionless, and her obsidian-like eyes stared straight at the podium. Of course, I'm joking. Before joining the club, I didn't know Kiyono. In order to save money, I came to Tokyo on the JR train. There were too many transfers, so I went to the wrong platform. When Kiyono was speaking as the freshman representative, I should have been eating lunch at the station. Everyone laughed again. Let's not talk about Kiyono anymore, lest someone say that I, the second-generation freshman representative, was too arrogant and kept ridiculing the first-generation freshmen. Before going on stage, the principal asked me to share some learning experiences. I've also prepared them, and I'm happy to share them with everyone. Everyone finally became serious. After all, they were entering high school, and they had an instinctive desire for efficient learning methods. I got the first place in the country by relying on my intelligence. That's all. Toru Watanabe left the podium, bowed to everyone, and turned to leave the stage. The gymnasium was silent. Clap, clap, clap. Crisp and monotonous applause. Mayasahi had a faint smile on her face. Then, the girls also applauded. Some people stood up, wanting to take a few more glances at Toru Watanabe before he returned to his seat. The boys joked with each other, saying, "This guy is so arrogant." Their hands followed the crowd's perfunctory applause. When Toru Watanabe returned to his seat and was surrounded by the boys in the class, the discipline master picked up the microphone. "Next is the school song, Everyone Stand Up." The members of the playing club who had been holding their instruments stood up with a whoosh, and the instruments in their hands were aimed at the students like guns. After everyone stood up slowly, the director of the playing club, Misaki Komatsu, raised the baton in her hand. The sound of the instruments poured out, and the singing of Kamigawa's school song wandered in the huge gymnasium. The hills of the Four Valleys, the school building where the crow flies, our alma mater, Kamigawa. After singing the school song, the sports festival officially began. Kanagawa High School's sports festival was organized one by one. There would never be a shot put competition, a long jump competition, a running competition, and even a high jump competition. Anyway, there were 3 days, so there was plenty of time. The first event was the 50-meter dash. The top 2 from each grade would be decided, and then the finals would be held. When the audience moved to the stands, the athletes had already changed into their class's professional sportswear. Year 1 Class 4 was not enthusiastic about the sports festival, so in the end, Aona Koizumi had to call them. Toru Watanabe relied on his close relationship with the beautiful homeroom teacher, so he did not sign up for anything. He did not exercise to show off in front of the high school students at the sports festival. His goal was to conquer Miki Kujo. Almost all the boys in the class changed their clothes, and most of the girls left. Toru Watanabe, Aona Koizumi, and Huang Zi sat together. "Why didn't Watanabe go?" Huang Zi asked. "I don't have enough stamina." Toru Watanabe took the chestnuts from her lap. October was the season to eat chestnuts. Toru Watanabe remembered the scene of him and his friends in the village going up the mountain to eat chestnuts in the past. He wondered if they would remember that they were missing a brother this year. "Wow, you're quite rude," Huang Zi said and snatched the chestnuts back. "Teacher Huang Zi, as a teacher, you're too stingy." "I'm stingy? You're the one who's too rude. At most, I can give you a handful." Toru Watanabe grabbed a handful. Huang Zi looked at the bag that was almost empty, and looked at his big hands in disbelief. "Watanabe, you..." Okay. Koizumi Aonai quickly mediated. "Watanabe, can you eat it if you hold it like this? Put it back, eat one and take another." "I'll listen to Teacher Koizumi." Watanabe classmate. Huang Zi gritted her teeth and said, "You better not be assigned to my class in the 2nd grade. Then you're lucky, I'm the number 1 in the country." Toru Watanabe ate 2 chestnuts, felt a little choked, and took the tangerine that Huang Zi bought. After he took it, Huang Zi immediately moved the tangerine in the middle to her side, acting like a child protecting her food. Toru Watanabe divided the tangerine in his hand into 3 portions, one for Aona Koizumi, and one for Huang Zi. So sour. He couldn't help but squint his eyes. "It's good enough that you have something to eat. As a student, you have to honestly thank the teacher for his kindness." While the 3 of them were eating snacks, the 1st grade athletes were already in position. There were 2 clouds of planes in the sky from north to south. The planes seemed to want to watch the fun, and slowly flew towards the south. In the distance, the beech trees formed a green wall, and the wide electronic screen showed a close-up of the athletes. The broadcasting department was broadcasting the game in real time through the school radio. Now we're holding the 50-meter race, and the first grade is starting. We invited the PE teacher as a special judge. Hello, Mr. Saito. Yes. May I ask, who do you think is the most likely person to qualify among the first years? Class 2's Suda. That guy is from the track and field department. He won an award in the county competition in junior high school. Class 3's Nakamura is also very fast. So, this year, the first grade has a good chance to win the championship from the third grade. It depends on the performance of the third grade. I remember Class 1's. Oh. I received the news that the athletes are in position, and the game will start soon. Class 2's Suda was indeed very fast. Before the camera had time to move away from him, this guy had already crossed the finish line. Toru Watanabe was eating Huang Zi's potato chips, and he could hear the cheers of Class 2 not far away. After the first grade, it was the second grade, then the third grade, and then the final. The 50-meter race ended quickly. In the end, Suda only won the bronze medal, and the third-grade athlete was ranked first. If Toru Watanabe remembered correctly, this guy was the head of the track and field department after he overtook Toru Watanabe that night. After that, there was the 100-meter race, and the director of the track and field department won the championship. After the two competitions, there was a club entertainment competition in between. The first competition was football long-distance shooting. Mr. Saito, I'll come back after I win the championship. Can you peel an orange for me? Remember to remove the orange shreds. Okay. Aona Koizumi nodded with a smile. Aren't you physically weak? Huang Zi's mouth was black because of eating chestnuts. What does playing football have to do with physical strength? What? Mr. Saito, don't believe him. Osamu Kunai, who had changed into sportswear, came to the stands and reported. This guy is physically strong. Toru Watanabe messed up Osamu Kunai's hair, then quickly walked down the stands and walked to the gathering point. What is this guy doing? Osamu Kunai quickly took out a small mirror and tidied up his hair. He was going to look for Aoi Ichiki later. Aona Koizumi and Huang Zi saw him take out a mirror from his sportswear. They looked at each other and nodded. There are so many different kinds of male students nowadays. Okay, the first club entertainment competition will begin immediately. We have the new student president, Nana Miyashita. Hello, President. Hello, Tanaka-san. First of all, congratulations on becoming the new student president. I want to ask you something. Do you have any plans to increase the club's budget? Now is not the time to talk about this. Haha, sorry. I do have some ideas about the club's budget. I should have written it on the bulletin board published by the news department. Everyone can wait for the notice from the student union. What about the broadcasting department? The broadcasting department is already very poor. President, look at this microphone. It looks good now, but it will explode if you don't pay attention. Tanaka. A voice that sounded like a teacher's was heard. Sorry. Aha, let's go back to the sports festival. President, which club do you think will get first place? Well, I don't know much about the various clubs now, but it's probably the football club. Don't blame me if I guess wrong. After all, the competition is football shooting. It's normal to guess that the football club will win. Ah, the competition seems to have started. Let's look at the big screen. Wow, so handsome, as expected of Kun Watanabe. Yes, he is indeed very handsome. Then I'll bet on the Human Observation Department to win. President, what are you doing? President, this is a sport. Ahaha, sorry. I really like Kun Watanabe's looks. Unfortunately, I heard that he has a girlfriend. Kun Watanabe, if you have any problems in the future, you can come to the student union office to look for me. On the big screen, Toru Watanabe was using his feet to kick the ball. The students participating in this entertainment competition were all wearing sportswear because they had other competitions. He was the only one wearing a uniform, which made him stand out. Okay, the competition has started. The first club to challenge is the mathematics department. Their slogan is, "Scoring is a matter of probability. Repeated experiments can find a way to increase the probability." Isn't this the meaning of more practice? It should be, right? Let's see the distance they challenged. 1 meter. It's really 1 meter. I see, more practice isn't the only way to increase the probability. Reducing the number of variables is also a way, President. That's not the place to be complaining. Okay, the representative of the mathematics department is in position. Take a deep breath and shoot. Very good, he's in. As expected of the mathematics department. Aha, very strong, although it's a little short. Next is the manga research department. Their slogan is, "How many times do you think I've scored in manga?" Rich experience. There was a round of applause as he spoke. As expected of the student union president, you're even better at lying than us. The broadcasting department's funding. I didn't say anything just now. Haha, I forgive you, phew, you scared me to death. Okay, the broadcasting department successfully survived the crisis. Let's continue with the competition. This representative of the manga research department. Isn't this the Chang senpai who was reported by the news department for selling pornographic books at the cultural festival and was punished by the school? So weak, so weak, but he challenged 50 meters. So strong, but still weak. 50 meters, very strong. Let's wait and see. Okay, senpai is in position. Shoot, the ball is flying in the air. Wait a minute, the ball stopped moving after 10 meters. His body is weak, this won't do, President. Stop. The field was filled with laughter. Everyone was clapping and slapping their legs. Senpai, who was about to cry, was comforted back to his seat by the members of the manga research department. What a tragedy. I hope that the following clubs can be realistic and recognize their own strength. You need to train more, everyone. Next up is the film studies department. Their slogan is, Yuko, Yuko, I love you. The big screen was split into 2 sections. On the left, Anzo Ohashi was saying something loudly to the members of the film studies department. On the right, Yuko, who was wearing a short skirt, was covering her face with her hands and squatting on the ground without moving. Senpai Ohashi, that's enough. Hurry up and get into position. Anzo Ohashi, whose face was red, walked to a position 10 meters away from the goal. Yuko opened her fingers slightly and secretly looked over. Senpai Ohashi is looking at you, good luck. On the screen, Yuko immediately closed her fingers again. Cute. The female member of the broadcasting department roared like an idiot. Please invite me to your wedding ceremony. Anzo Ohashi, who only wanted to end the match quickly, kicked the ball somewhere. At any rate, he didn't see it in the goal. What a pity. Okay, next up is the hot favorite for the championship, the soccer club. Their slogan is, "Don't look down on soccer, hey. Don't look down on other people, hey." That, Mr. President, are you from the fallen speech department? You seem to have a lot of complaints. No, I just like watching crosstalk programs, I see. What's the shooting distance of the soccer club? Let me see, 50 meters. It's the same as the porn club. Don't say that about the comics research department. The one in the wrong is only Senpai Ohashi. Let's see the strength of a professional. Okay, the representative of the soccer club is in position. His expression is very relaxed. Wow, his legs are very strong. Mr. President, do you think he can kick it in? I can't deal with people with too much leg hair. On the big screen, the soccer club member who was taking a deep breath almost couldn't breathe. At this moment, the cameraman from the news department gave a close-up of his leg. This time, everyone's attention was focused on his lush leg hair. Ha. Amidst the laughter, the soccer club member kicked the ball out and at the same time decided he would shave his leg hair when he got home. He got it in. Oh my God. He really got it in. No wonder he's a soccer club member. Accompanied by the shouts of the female broadcasting club member, the stadium was filled with cheers and applause. Amazing! The not-so-serious student council president also applauded. There were many clubs participating in the competition, but the competition went on very quickly, one after another. Soon, it was Toru Watanabe's turn. It's Kun Watanabe. Wow, don't suddenly zoom in on your face. It's not good for my girlish heart. Yes. Good luck, Kun Watanabe. You're too biased, Mr. President. You seem to have only cheered for him. No, it's just that I didn't think of it when the others were competing. Okay, let's take it that way. Let's see the slogan of the Human Observation Department. I'm already omnipotent. Who on earth wrote this sentence? Who is it talking about? Kun Watanabe? Agreed. Okay, the Human Observation Department challenge is 40 meters. Wait, I just received a notice. It's changed to 110 meters. 110 meters. Isn't that the length of the entire soccer field? The news is accurate. It's indeed changed to 110 meters. Mr. President, what do you think? The length doesn't matter. Just with this handsomeness, Kun Watanabe is already omnipotent. Wait, this isn't an scene, Mr. President. On the big screen, Toru Watanabe hugged the soccer ball and walked back, until he reached the goal. The camera immediately followed, looking at the 244-meter tall goal from his point of view. With a distance of 110 meters, the goal was as small as a trash can. There were gasps of surprise in the stadium. Some girls stood up nervously, some boys were laughing, and some stood up to get a better look. Everyone's eyes were glued to the big screen. Toru Watanabe gave off a very confident feeling, as if there was nothing he couldn't do, and no matter how difficult the problem was, he would be able to remain calm. In fact, he had indeed done things that others couldn't do. Getting first place in the country, leading the blowing club into the national competition, hanging out with 2 untouchable young ladies, and so on. Can he succeed? A female member of the broadcasting club voiced everyone's expectations. Do your best, Kun Watanabe. On the big screen, Toru Watanabe pulled down his tie, revealing his collarbone. Gulp! The clear sound of saliva swallowing came from the broadcast. The originally tense atmosphere relaxed, and everyone laughed heartily. The girls were embarrassed, but they couldn't bear to look away from the screen. Okay, Kun Watanabe is in position. His standing posture is very handsome. This side profile is also very handsome. You're kidding, right? Even his neck is impeccable. Tanaka. The teacher's reprimanding voice came from the broadcast again. Back to the game. The handsome Kun Watanabe has finished warming up his body and is about to shoot. He's kicking. Oh my god, the ball is flying so high. Camera, catch up. It's still flying. It's still flying. It's so high. I can see clouds. Camera, what are you doing? Why did you lose the ball again? What's the result? Did it go in? Everyone was looking for the ball. Many people couldn't wait for the broadcast on the big screen and stood up from their seats to look at the field. Toru Watanabe was also waiting. At this time, the camera on the big screen shook and aimed at the goal. Inside, a ball was firmly blocked by the net. He went in. He really went in. Watanabe went in. The female member of the broadcasting club shouted. The camera panned to the audience. There was complete silence. Everyone was in disbelief. In a moment of silence, the camera suddenly turned and aimed at Toru Watanabe. At this time, Hasebi Yaka from the news department was already standing next to Toru Watanabe with a microphone. Watanabe-san, do you have anything you want to say right now? Toru Watanabe, who was also overjoyed, raised his hands in excitement. Loudly shout my name. Through the microphone, his voice pierced through the clouds and reverberated throughout Kamigawa. Watanabe! 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 The slogan was in unison. Everyone raised their arms and shouted. The entire field was boiling. At the scene of the explosion, the camera panned to the Human Observation Department again. This was a long-term plot by the news department to uncover a love triangle. The big screen split into two again. On the left, like Shawshank in the storm, Toru Watanabe was also roaring to the sky. The surrounding audience had a fanatical look on their faces as they cheered and jumped in excitement. On the right, Rin Kiyono's mouth had a hint of surprise. Miki Kujo's expression was indescribable. She looked at Toru Watanabe on the screen and turned her face away in disgust. Loudly shout my name. If Miki Kujo remembered correctly, before going to bed that day, Watanabe had used her work tablet to watch a TV episode. There was this line in the episode. The full version, loudly shout my name, Ultraman, Zeta. Chapter 143. Toru Watanabe walked back to the stands amidst the cheers, and when he passed by the VIP seats, he threw a flying kiss in the direction of the two young ladies. Kujio Mika, who had her legs crossed and arms crossed, replied with a smile. Seino Rin, on the other hand, responded with a rather cold gaze, clearly dissatisfied with his frivolous behavior. Toru Watanabe did not care about their reactions, and the students of Class 4 had already crowded around him. Keisuke Saito and Osamu Kunai pushed his shoulders, so excited that they kept repeating, "You guy," "Too strong," and so on. The girls in their class, as well as the other classes nearby, were so excited that they stood up one by one and kept taking pictures of him with their phones in their hands. Toru Watanabe himself was also very happy. The Guinness World Record for a football shot was 91.9 meters, of course, that was on the field. His 110-meter goal was really completely based on luck. But whether it was luck or not, for a boy, throwing garbage into the trash can would give a proud look to his desk mate, not to mention in front of the whole school, kicking the football 110 meters away into the goal. After the boys in the class carried him up, he once again raised his arms and shouted, "Imtha King Golf World. Oh ho! Watanabe! Watanabe! Watanabe!" The camera on the big screen was always aimed at him. Without the microphone, many people could not hear what he said, and did not know what the people around him were shouting, but they also shouted and whistled. Miki Kujo noticed a few female students in front of the stage in front of her. They were excitedly using their phones to watch the video of Toru Watanabe's goal and roaring just now. She took out her phone and clicked into the class group. Sure enough, someone had already forwarded it. Dialogue boxes kept popping up in the group. So cool. Wow. So cool. Watanabe. Wow. That's right. Who would stand on the opposite side of the goal and kick the ball into the goal. Ah. Wow. The football can fly so far, it scared me. Wow. Yeah, and it flew so high. Miki Kujo reached out her slender fingers and sent the video to her mother. She then sent the video to her own Instagram with the caption, "Childish." As soon as it was posted, some bored young ladies from other families liked it. They probably didn't even watch the video. Not long after, his mother finished watching the video and sent a message. "Watanabe doesn't kick off his blanket at night, does he? ? This child's legs are really strong. Miki, you have to be careful. Aside from being too strong and pressing down on my hair, I don't have any bad sleeping habits. Really, don't tell mom about this kind of thing. Did having good stamina mean that it took a long time? How long exactly?" Miki Kujo was too lazy to reply to her. She closed the chat interface. At this time, there were already dozens of comments in her INS, not to mention the likes. Kujo hasn't sent an INS for a long time. How rare. This is too cool. Ah. I really want a boyfriend like this. Is this a football? It flew too far. How hot-blooded. Hurry up and let him race with me. As expected of Kujo's boyfriend. He looks very popular and has the temperament of a leader. Miki Kujo smiled. After reading the comments, she looked up and met Rin Kiyono's gaze. The two of them looked at each other without saying a word. Actually, Miki Kujo turned off the phone screen. I don't really hate you. In fact, among all my peers, I think you're the only one qualified to be my friend. Is that so? I really hate you. Faced with Miki Kujo's rare good tone, Rin Kiyono responded as ruthlessly as usual. Miki Kujo smiled indifferently. I was talking about the past. Now, her face suddenly turned cold, but she still smiled. You'd better stay away from Watanabe. No confidence. Rin Kiyono mocked contemptuously. No confidence? That's because you don't understand men. Miki Kujo responded with the same disdain, a bunch of low-level creatures who don't care about their lives when they're in love. Rin Kiyono thought of Toru Watanabe and sighed helplessly. I agree. Miki Kujo narrowed her eyes, paused, and sneered. Watanabe is mine, but you're always with him. I don't want anything to happen that makes me unhappy. Are you ordering me? Sorry, one of the most important tasks of the Human Observation Department is how to make Toru Watanabe fall in love with me. Rin Kiyono looked at her indifferently, ignoring her warning. You like him? I don't like him. I just admire him. Don't you hate people who lie? Why did you change your personality? Don't tell me that Watanabe doesn't lie. Kujo's face was full of disdain when she said that Toru Watanabe didn't lie. She knew her own boyfriend better than anyone else. He was always glib-tongued and couldn't tell which of his words were true. Rin Kiyono didn't answer Miki Kujo's question. She looked at the field. The cheerleaders were wearing doll-like costumes and dancing. The autumn wind lifted their skirts and brought a maple leaf to her feet, even though she couldn't see any maple trees. There were many competitions in the morning, including a few club competitions. The Human Observation Department took first place. There was Toru Watanabe's running with a spoon and making a baseball fly, and Rin Kiyono's tennis fixed point and badminton in the hole. There was a short break at noon. The two were invited by the Broadcasting Department to participate in an interview. Hello, everyone. During this break, the Broadcasting Department would like to invite the Human Observation Department who are active in the morning. Kiyono classmate, Kun Watanabe, hello. Hello. The female member of the Broadcasting Department. Everyone is very curious about the mysterious Human Observation Department. What are the club activities? Drinking tea. As soon as Toru Watanabe's voice fell, ding, the ear-piercing sound of blasting microphones seemed to pierce through everyone's eardrums. It seemed that the Broadcasting Department really needed money to change microphones. If their ears recovered fast enough, they could hear a clear and beautiful female voice saying something. After the sound of blasting microphones, Toru Watanabe's clear and youthful voice sounded again. It mainly studies human sociology. For example, how people react in a certain environment, what kind of decisions they make, and what are the specific factors that influence them. I don't understand very well. Can you give a few specific examples? The female member of the Broadcasting Department asked. How to make Toru Watanabe fall in love with me? Rin Kiyono's beautiful voice sounded. Is there such a thing? I'm very curious. What's the result? I'm still working on it, but I found his weakness. Weakness? But I heard that Kun Watanabe already has a girlfriend. Is there no problem with that? I've already told his girlfriend. This is also a test for Watanabe classmate. I see. Then Kun Watanabe, as the subject of the experiment, do you have anything to say? Everyone, I like the Azura Arena. Ding ding dong, ding ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. I'm sorry, I have to take a call. Hello, Miki? Yep, I didn't say anything. What? Repeat yourself? Everyone, I like Miki the most. After leaving the Broadcasting Department, the two of them returned to the activity classroom for lunch. As soon as they entered, before they even reached their seats, Miki Kujo grabbed Toru Watanabe's tie. Wait, Miki, I still have something to say. Speak. I might be a scumbag, but I'm really not a masochist. Can you not punish me, just scold me a little? Don't pull my ear. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Wrong, wrong, really wrong. I'm not a scumbag, I'm a masochist. Then I'm rewarding you right now. Can I not? No. Miki Kujo said with a smile, but she still let go. I'm going back in the afternoon. Behave yourself, you hear? Why aren't you watching it? Toru Watanabe rubbed his ear. Do you think I'm as free as you? That's true. After they finished the afternoon drama called The Tragic Azura Arena Between My Girlfriend and the Society Head, the sports festival continued in the afternoon. The individual competition was in the morning, and the interclass competition was in the afternoon. In order to quickly liven up the atmosphere, the first competition was a tug-of-war between classes. Although it was called a class, it was actually just 20 people from each class. The sports committee put the idea of men and women working together to make work less tiring to the extreme. They understood that the strength of 20 boys definitely couldn't compare to the strength of 10 boys in front of 10 girls, so the allocation of 20 people was 10 boys and 10 girls. Really? On the field, Osamu Kunai asked. Toru Watanabe, who was forced to go on stage by Aona Koizumi because he was in the limelight in the morning, replied, No, I'm not a sports committee member. In fact, it's probably for the sake of gender equality. That's right. How can the strength of 20 boys not compare to that of 10 boys and 10 girls? Aoi Ichiki stood beside you in the tug-of-war with you. Before you started, she said, it would be great if we could win the tug-of-war, Kuji-san. Then, Kuji-san, you unleashed your little universe and fought 3 people by yourself. Osamu Kunai pondered for a while, imagining the scene described by Toru Watanabe. 10 seconds later, he nodded seriously. I was indeed going to fight 3 people by myself. But, little universe, I didn't think that there would still be people who would say that. What's wrong with little universe? It's too old. Old? I'm sorry, I still like Matsuda Masako. By the way, Kiyono, who has the same birthday as me, also likes him. I don't like him. Opposite them, Rin Kiyono, who was the first in line, corrected him. You don't like him? Toru Watanabe was stunned. You laughed for so long? To be precise, I should be laughing at him. I'm laughing at your terrible singing. When did I say that I like Matsuda Masako? Then what do you like? Rin Kiyono's lips curled into a smug smile. Tagore. Toru Watanabe looked her up and down. The sportswear was not bad. Rin Kiyono glared at him in annoyance and said nothing. Toru Watanabe asked as if nothing had happened, I thought you didn't lie? I just fell in love with him a few days ago. I found Tagore very interesting. Tagore has been dead for almost 70 years. Let's not disturb him, shall we? By the way, Kiyono, why did you participate in the tug-of-war competition? Rin Kiyono did not speak. Her face was pale. It seemed that her reason for participating in the tug-of-war competition was quite bad. Was it a lottery? Or a rock-paper-scissors game? Was she being ostracized? The referee of the sports committee blew the whistle, and both sides grabbed the ropes tightly. Before the competition began, Osamu Kunai quietly asked one last question. There's one thing I've been curious about since the beginning. Watanabe, why are your ears so red? Begin. The referee waved his arm. This is the power of love. Toru Watanabe exerted his strength. Wah, the people in class 1 instantly fell over. Rin Kiyono, who was as light as snow, directly surrendered to the enemy. She fell into Toru Watanabe's arms. Toru Watanabe hurriedly caught her. Her skin was crystal clear, and she looked both high and weak. It made people worry that she would break like a porcelain doll. He looked at Rin Kiyono, who was lying in his arms and clutching her chest in fear. After confirming that she was okay, it was time to take revenge for the Tagore incident. Toru Watanabe deliberately played a prank. He smiled like a ray of sunshine in winter, and in a voice as clear as a mountain stream, he said softly, Rin, I'm here. It's okay. He had thought that Rin Kiyono would pull a long face and ask him to go to the hospital more often to see if the frontal lobe that controlled emotions was still there. But Rin Kiyono's snow-white face, which was still a little flustered, gradually turned red. There was something rippling in her dark, beautiful eyes, and when she blinked, it was very moving. It was so moving that every time she blinked, a naughty little deer would jump out from the dense grass and stare at you curiously with its round eyes. Toru Watanabe felt her slender shoulders tremble slightly. His fingertips accidentally touched her long hair, and it was soft and smooth. Their breathing suddenly became heavy, and they could feel the heat from each other's lips. Rin Kiyono quietly lowered her eyes, and her eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. Toru Watanabe quickly straightened her, let go of her hand, and turned around to help Osamu Kanai. Dangerous, too dangerous. In just a short second, he almost couldn't control himself. In the past, he used to joke about how beautiful her legs were, and he even deliberately hugged her waist on the night of the dance, but he was very calm. He always thought that it was just a joke and that the two of them were only good friends. But just now, he almost wavered when he saw Rin Kiyono's expression. Is this the weakness she talked about at noon? One of her methods to make me like her? Damn it, she's too strong. Rin Kiyono hurriedly tidied up her clothes, slowly exhaled, and looked in the direction where Toru Watanabe wasn't. At this time, everyone recovered from the sudden end of the competition. It's over? Class 1. So weak. The female broadcaster from the radio department recovered and shouted. Too fast, too fast. The student union president criticized him in the slow tone of a big sister. You can't go too fast, but forget it. As long as Watanabe-kun is still strong, Mayasha-san. You're our student council president. If you're like this, our Kamigawa will be finished. What's wrong with me? After helping Osamu Kunai up and confirming that his classmates were all okay, Toru Watanabe walked towards Rin Kiyono. Kiyono classmate, are you okay? Rin Kiyono looked at him and opened her mouth, as if she wanted to say something, but in the end, she didn't say anything and turned her face away. She didn't say anything, just like an exquisite doll. What's wrong? Toru Watanabe asked again. Rin Kiyono shook her head silently, her shiny black hair swaying gently. That's great. I didn't expect our class to be so strong. Osamu Kunai jumped from behind and pressed his hands on Toru Watanabe's shoulders. This is the power of a Saint Seiya. You can't underestimate the small universe. What does it have to do with you? It must be the power of our country's Uncle Sakurai. With the strength of your but sitting on the ground? Well, it's really strong. That's because the grass under my feet is too slippery, and I'm too strong. Osamu Kunai lifted his feet, insisting on proving that the shoes he wore today weren't slippery. Toru Watanabe noticed Rin Kiyono from the corner of his eyes, and she walked back to the stands alone. Chapter 144. The first day of the sports festival ended with the battle for the ball. The players had to take the ball from the opponent's basket back to their own basket. Although it was clearly stated that the competition was based on speed and no snatching was allowed, it was inevitable that it would develop into a situation where a bunch of people were pressing down on one person. The referee couldn't shout or pull them apart, so he could only remind them, home. Home. Class 1. All the balls in your home have been taken away. The person being pressed down was Toru Watanabe. He took the initiative to snatch the ball from someone else's hands, and he was so powerful that the people in Class 1 could only curl up on the grass and hold the ball in their arms to avoid his vicious hands. Then, he couldn't really fight, so he was pressed down on the ground by the human mountain. The competition is over. Class 4 wins. The guys in Class 1 pretended not to hear at first, and when the referee whistled desperately, they got up one by one with a carefree smile. Toru Watanabe slowly stood up with the help of his classmates. He supported his waist with his hands as if he couldn't take it anymore, and his expression was pained. All the teachers and students looked at the scene on the big screen and laughed. The boys even slapped their thighs and cheered in unison. After the competition, The other boys took the initiative to move the sports equipment back to the warehouse, and Toru Watanabe, who had done a lot of hard work, was allowed to rest early. He rejected the girls' kind help, walked to the sink in the swimming pool area, and washed his face with the faucet above the water outlet. After washing his face, he raised his head and drank water with his mouth. Just as the slow stream of water hit his lips and teeth, the originally dim sky was replaced by a handsome face. Mayasahi held her hair with one hand, bent down, and used her mouth to catch the water from the same faucet. The clear water sprayed upwards, and what she didn't catch flowed into Toru Watanabe's mouth. Learn, cough cough cough. Toru Watanabe choked. Are you okay? Mayasahi asked softly and slowly, patting his back with one hand and handing him a handkerchief with the other. Ahem, thank you. Toru Watanabe wiped his mouth with a handkerchief. Senior Mai, why are you here? Since October, when the swimming class ended, very few people came to the swimming pool area. Today was no exception. If it weren't for the girls' enthusiasm, Toru Watanabe wouldn't have come here. From what I see, Mayasahi said, noticing that a few strands of Toru Watanabe's hair were wet and stuck to his cheeks. She didn't say anything. Instead, she reached out and gently brushed Toru Watanabe's hair away from his face. Toru Watanabe felt warm in his heart. He couldn't help but say, "Thank you." Yes. Mayasahi's clear eyes were filled with uneasiness. Che, are you hurt? Okay. I'll do as you say. I can be a dog or a cat in my next life. Let's not talk about this. What do you want from me? I need to go to the infirmary. Rin Kiyono finished speaking and turned to leave. Not only Toru Watanabe, but even Osamu Kunai and Keisuke Saito, who were bystanders, did not understand what she meant. After walking about 2 meters, Rin Kiyono stopped and turned around slightly, shooting a sharp glance at him. She meant, I have to go too? Toru Watanabe asked in a probing tone. You have nothing to do after school, so you'll be playing games when you get home, right? Compared to the look in her eyes, Rin Kiyono's tone did not sound angry. That's true, but I'll do it. The girl's eyes began to turn terrifying, so Toru Watanabe changed his words. You're right, I do have nothing to do. Have a good day after school. Goodbye. Toru Watanabe said goodbye to the other two and caught up with the girl. His expression looks good, but I know he's not happy at all. Osamu Kunai's expression was pained. Nonsense, how can you be happy when you're interrupted while playing games? Keisuke Saito agreed with experience. School had just ended, and there was a commotion everywhere. A girl was chasing a boy with a broom, a bespectacled boy was called to a corner by the teacher for psychological education, and a girl group was pointing at Toru Watanabe and gossiping. Are you hurt? Toru Watanabe asked. No. Then why did you go to the infirmary? You're not going to treat my wounds, are you? You're not too stupid. There's no need to go through so much trouble. This small injury is nothing. I'll be fine by next week. Wait a minute. Toru Watanabe suddenly thought of something. How many ways have you tried to make me fall in love with you? Rin Kiyono's soft lips parted slightly. She wanted to say something, but stopped herself. Finally, she explained, you got hurt because I wanted to get first place in the sports festival. I'll take responsibility for you. Take responsibility for me. Kiyono-san, even I have to admire you. If it were any other boy, they would have fallen for you already, but I'm not ordinary. Is that so? Rin Kiyono responded lightly. Of course, even if it's me, the favorability will still increase a little. Toru Watanabe pinched the tip of his pinky finger with his thumb. Rin Kiyono nodded and said nonchalantly, as long as it's effective. You're scaring me with your determination, really. Looks like I have to work harder. I have to make you like me first. On the way to the infirmary, the two stopped talking. Toru Watanabe was thinking hard about how to make Rin Kiyono fall for him without making Miki angry. Because of the sports festival, There were also nurses from the hospital in the infirmary other than Mickey. When the two of them went over, they saw Mickey sending the nurses away. What's wrong? Mickey sat back on the roller chair in exhaustion. Her chest shook under the doctor's white coat. That scene would be noticed by anyone with normal vision. So Rin Kiyono glanced at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe glanced at her leg. After the two of them exchanged glances, Rin Kiyono said to Mickey, "Sensei, his hand is injured. Please help him disinfect it." Toru Watanabe showed his injured hand to Mickey. Mickey grabbed his hand and looked at the wound. Then she lay back down and said weakly, "Young man, you can't pretend to be seriously injured to deceive girls. Don't expose me, Miyazaki-sensei. I'm Koizumi-sensei's favorite student. Shouldn't you help me?" "It's exactly because you're her favorite student that I don't want to help you. My relationship with Kiyono classmate has been approved by Koizumi-sensei." "Is that so?" Mickey looked at Rin Kiyono in surprise. "I don't remember your girlfriend being like this." Rin Kiyono rubbed her forehead and said weakly, "Sensei, just disinfect him and get rid of the poison in his mind." "You can do that?" Toru Watanabe asked curiously. "It's simple." Mickey nodded unexpectedly. "As long as I want to, although it's troublesome, I can still get a lethal drug." "Ah-san, I'm wrong. How strange. Could it be that the weather is turning cold after white dew, and the cicadas are chirping? Is my daily life going to collapse?" Rin Kiyono chuckled and let him go. She looked at Mickey pleadingly. "I've been busy for 2 days. I'm exhausted. You guys do it yourselves. You should know how to do something as simple as disinfecting, right?" Without waiting for the two to answer, Mickey pointed at the medicine cabinet. "There's a label on the disinfectant. The Band-Aid is in the second drawer. Tetsumasa Watanabe wanted to get it." "Sit here obediently." Rin Kiyono pointed at a chair and walked over. "It's not like my leg is injured." Toru Watanabe sat down obediently. Mickey stretched her arms and stretched. "That size, that height, it's really... No wonder she's tired. She must be a boy who came to the infirmary with a small injury. What a bunch of perverts." Rin Kiyono took the disinfectant and Band-Aid. She also took another wooden stool and sat in front of Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe reached out his hand. She grabbed it gently. Her other hand dipped a cotton ball in the disinfectant and applied it gently on the wound. Toru Watanabe felt a cooling sensation. It came from the wound and the warmth of Rin Kiyono's hand. "Does it hurt?" Rin Kiyono looked up and met Toru Watanabe's eyes. She was stunned for a moment and immediately lowered her head. "It didn't hurt before, but it hurts now." Rin Kiyono paused. She breathed slightly and adjusted her emotions. Her hand movements became gentle again. "If it hurts, tell me." She lowered her eyes quietly and said gently, After disinfecting and applying the Band-Aid, Miyuki Miyazaki was not afraid of Toru Watanabe's pain. She grabbed his hand. She looked at it and praised, "Well done. The location of the Band-Aid is also good. Young man, be careful when you bathe. It will be fine when the scab forms." "Thank you, sensei." After the two thanked her, they left the infirmary. "I have to go to the activity room to get my bag," Rin Kiyono said. "Goodbye, Kiyono," Toru Watanabe called her. "Thank you." Rin Kiyono turned her head and gently stroked her chin. She thought for a while and asked, "If I was the one who was injured, what would you do?" "This little injury is not worth your attention, right?" "Lies." Toru Watanabe helplessly said, "Hey, this ability of yours is too much of a cheat. I'm clearly the chosen one." Rin Kiyono brushed the hair on her shoulder. "Answer the question." "Probably, I would be reluctant." "Idiot. What did you say?" "Say it again, believe it or not, I will hit you." I am the real equality between men and women. I said you are an idiot. Rin Kiyono crossed her arms and smiled arrogantly. I am asking you, what would you do? If you are not an idiot, then what are you? If the country's #1 is an idiot, then wouldn't the whole Japan be idiots? I don't know whether other people are idiots or not, and I don't care. I only know that Watanabe-san is undoubtedly an idiot. Haha, in fact, just now was the 99th way to make you fall in love with me. Are you moved? Lies. Rin Kiyono laughed contemptuously. So, why do you have the ability to see through lies? No matter how I think about it, it is not right. Wait, you and I have the same birthday, did it go to the wrong place? The more Toru Watanabe thought about it, the more likely it was. He hurriedly asked, Kiyono-san, can you tell me where you were born and the specific time of your birth? What nonsense are you talking about? Rin Kiyono frowned. Forget it, I don't want to see you today. Goodbye. Okay, then let's talk tomorrow. Toru Watanabe watched the girl's beautiful back disappear at the end of the corridor, then turned around and walked to the shoe cabinet. He didn't care whether he had the ability to see through lies or not. He didn't intend to become the Prime Minister. And as Miki Kujo's boyfriend, he didn't need to be courteous to others for money. It didn't matter whether he could see through lies or not. After taking 2 steps, Mayasahi walked towards him. Mai-san? Mayasahi walked closer with small steps. First, she stared at his face with her clear eyes, then grabbed his hand. Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. It's already been treated. Rip. The band-aid was torn off, and the flesh was pulled up. Senior, what are you doing? Not answering Toru Watanabe's question, Mayasahi looked at the wound, then gently blew on it twice, making Toru Watanabe itch. She took out a band-aid from the pocket of her pleated skirt and carefully put it back on. Use mine, Mayasahi said in a cute and cold voice. Oh. Mayasahi nodded in satisfaction, and pressed Toru Watanabe's hand on the chest of her school uniform. Get better quickly. She closed her eyes and lowered her head, as if talking to her opponent. Toru Watanabe's palm was soft and hard, like underwear. Senior, I'm going to play games with my classmates. I'll go back first. Toru Watanabe withdrew his hand and quickly slipped away. This was the corridor. If other people saw this, would they still be alive? After changing into his shoes in the shoe cabinet, Toru Watanabe walked towards the school gate. Just as he was thinking about wasting the band-aid, he saw Miki Kujo's car at the school gate. The car door was closed, but she must have been waiting for him. Toru Watanabe opened the door and got in. Miki Kujo's right hand was on the center armrest, and her left hand was holding a document. Shizuru was still like a robot, motionless in the corner. The car slowly started and drove down the hill to Shiya Station. Didn't you ask for leave today? Why are you here? Toru Watanabe asked. Passing by. Miki Kujo's eyes were looking at the document, and she answered. I see. Toru Watanabe stroked the surface of the band-aid. The frosted surface was very comfortable to the touch. Miki Kujo looked up, and then lowered her head again to look at the document. What's going on? This? Toru Watanabe raised his hand. I accidentally fell during the competition. He was worried that Miki Kujo would cause trouble for his senior, so he chose to lie. Moreover, it would be too lame to tell his girlfriend that he didn't bump into other boys. In front of Miki Kujo, he was always hungry, and the more he fought, the fiercer he became. The band-aid is very cute. So that's what she was talking about. It was indeed cute. Unlike the band-aid that Rin Kiyono put on for Toru Watanabe, Mayasahi's band-aid had a cute picture of a cat and a puppy. The boys don't have band-aids. I asked the girls in class for them. Toru Watanabe explained. Miki Kujo threw the document in her hand on the other side of the seat. She crossed her arms and stared at Toru Watanabe. Even so, the relationship between the two was very close, so Toru Watanabe didn't feel that the atmosphere in the car had become oppressive. However, he still had to explain what he needed to. "Mickey, wait, I only asked for a Band-Aid." "We didn't talk at all," he said quickly. "Band-Aid? Then why didn't you go to the infirmary?" Miki Kujo sneered, and her fingers tapped on her arm impatiently. "It's troublesome to run around. Others had it, so I asked for one. I can swear to Shitani Station that I don't know any girls in my class." "Don't give me that." Miki Kujo grabbed Toru Watanabe, tore off the Band-Aid, and threw it into the trash can. "Shirley." "Yes." Shirley opened the hidden compartment in the car and took out a medical kit and a Band-Aid from the kit. Miki Kujo sniffed with her sharp nose and sneered. "You even disinfected it?" "Yes." Miki Kujo took the hydrogen peroxide from Shirley and rinsed Toru Watanabe's hand repeatedly. She also washed it with saline several times. Finally, she disinfected it again and put on the Band-Aid that was exactly the same as the one in the infirmary. After doing all this, Miki Kujo didn't say anything. She just left Toru Watanabe on the side of the road and got in the car. The afterglow of the setting sun hung in the sky, and the temperature dropped. On the road along the ramp to the station, the beech leaves fell all over the ground, and the miscanthus began to grow. "Brother, you're back." Looking at the Band-Aid, Toru Watanabe found joy in the bitter situation. Chapter 145. Toru Watanabe ran through a long and narrow residential alley. In the distance, the blue sky blended in with the skyscrapers of Tokyo. When he arrived at the Saka Shrine, he bought a carton of milk from a red vending machine and sat at the top of the stairs drinking it. At the bottom of the stairs, a cat was squatting there, washing its face with its front paws. October 23rd, Friday, the last day of the sports festival. There were only 2 days left before the National Orchestra competition. On the tram to school, Toru Watanabe leaned against the door and used his mobile phone to search for food and fun places in Nagoya. Kanagawa High School was still immersed in the atmosphere of the sports festival. On the way to school, many people simply wore autumn sportswear. The sports club was even more impressive. They directly wore competitive sportswear, sleeveless and shorts. They were not afraid of the cold autumn wind. Watanabe. Osamu Kunai caught up from behind. As long as this guy didn't have morning practice in the baseball club, he would immediately come to school last. Osamu Kunai put his elbow on Toru Watanabe's shoulder. "Remember to cheer for me today." "Cheer for me." There's a cheerleading team that specializes in wearing short skirts. Toru Watanabe shook off his hand. Because it was the baseball club, it was natural for him to participate in the 3000m event. This was the consensus of everyone in Class 4, including Aona Koizumi. This specialized, does it describe wearing short skirts or cheerleading? Of course it's wearing short skirts. Cheerleading is not important at all. Watanabe, you're too bad. The cheerleading team works very hard to cheer for us. Who was the one who bought the key in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds last night and wanted a short skirt? Hey. Osamu Kunai pretended to be in disbelief. "I just wanted a short skirt. Think about yourself. How much did you spend on the Hanazawa Cilantro voice pack? You still have the nerve to talk about me. Don't mention this. Why do you always get Ono Kenshu's voice pack? Can you complain to the officials about this kind of thing? I seriously suspect that Ono Kenshu has malicious intentions." Toru Watanabe's luck had never been very good. This was a well-known fact. You want someone else's wife's voice pack. Of course, she would come out and get in the way. But don't you have Takeda Kaina's voice pack? She's also someone else's wife. Just make do. Osamu Kunai patted Toru Watanabe's shoulder comfortingly. "Hey, don't talk. I don't like others' wives." "I's wife's wife. You don't like Thatsu's wife." Toru Watanabe was determined not to swear. Originally, after sleeping and running in the morning, he had almost forgotten about last night's lucky draw. After being reminded by Kojing Shio and bearing the stigma of liking other people's wives, he became depressed again. At the shoe cabinet, Qing Yi Rin, who was changing his shoes, was startled by him. "What's wrong with you so early in the morning?" She frowned and said, "I spent a lot of money yesterday that I shouldn't have spent. I regret it now." Toru Watanabe skillfully stuffed the love letters that reappeared in the cabinet into his bag. "What kind of boring things did you buy?" Rin Kiyono also knew that Toru Watanabe was blindly buying things because of the mission that required him to spend 1 million every month. The matter itself wasn't boring. It's just that I wasn't satisfied with the result. "So, what did you do?" "Pay for the game." Feeling Rin Kiyono's contemptuous eyes, Toru Watanabe explained, "Don't look down on paying for the game. Humans instinctively pursue differentiation. Paying for the game is the easiest way to achieve differentiation. I was just conducting a human observation." "How much did you spend?" Rin Kiyono was too lazy to refute him. If every word he said was true or false, her conversation with Toru Watanabe would probably be a lie. Format for the rest of her life. 30,000 yuan. Toru Watanabe closed the shoe cabinet and spread his hands in front of her. "Minister, this is a club activity, right? Quickly reimburse me." Rin Kiyono looked at him as if he was a stranger, then turned around and left. Before 8 o'clock, Toru Watanabe stayed in the classroom and talked to the boys in the class about which grip to install on the M4, whether the 98K was better or the SKS was more practical. At 8 o'clock, everyone moved to the field. 15 minutes later, the last day of the sports festival began. Today's events were all life-threatening events like the 3000m. Of course, they were even more exciting. The cheers and cheers never stopped. The interclass competition is over. The committee has started to tally the points. Everyone is so good, yup. Next up is the last competition between clubs and entertainment. It's also the last competition of the sports festival, the race to borrow items. I'm looking forward to it. The rules of the competition are that the contestants from each club must first run to the box with the note, then find the item or person written on the note. They must then bring the item or person with them through various obstacles and reach the finish line. Just a reminder, there are 10 ropes in the rope jumping area. If you're not careful, you might accidentally trip or fall. Please be careful. Also, I'm the one who wrote the note. It's very interesting. Please look forward to it with me. The president wrote it himself. Can you reveal 1 or 2 topics? For example, President of the Student Council. By the way, I wrote this note especially for Kun Watanabe. I hope that he can bring me along to run on the field and pass through various obstacles to reach the point of love. If other students accidentally draw it, please quietly put it back. I'll pretend that I didn't see it. Student Miyashita. I'm just kidding. After that, the president of the student council whispered, "Looks like there's no need for the broadcasting department to exist anymore." "Mr. President, I heard you." Sorry, the broadcasting department won't be abolished. I won't do that kind of thing. You swore in front of the school's teachers and students. How annoying, Tanaka-san. No matter how I think about it, I don't have the right to do that kind of thing. At most, I'll just deduct the security fee. Principal, please save the broadcasting department. Oh. Sob. I'll still. Okay, the contestants are in position. I'll have to trouble the news department to give Kun Watanabe a close-up. The cameraman of the news department adjusted the camera lens at the fastest speed in his life and aimed it at Toru Watanabe. Yes. Slow down a bit. Very good. Finally, focus on the side of his face. Yes, that's it. The news department did a good job. You'll get a lot of money. The cameraman wiped his sweat. Toru Watanabe turned around to look at himself on the big screen. The camera was zoomed in. This made him feel very awkward. He pressed the corners of his mouth and moved his lips as if there was a piece of candy in his mouth. The contestants are in position. The competition is about to begin. The people from the broadcasting department were unmuted. Musicians, continue playing. Cheerleaders, continue to dance. The exciting music sounded. The cheerleaders, who were wearing short skirts but unfortunately only had safety pants, cheered in their cute girlish voices. On the big screen, the contestants from each club were already in position at the starting line. The people from the sports committee covered their ears with one hand and raised the signal gun with the other. Bang! With the sound of the gun, Toru Watanabe took the lead and jumped out. The other's speed was nothing compared to his. It had been 5 months since the water of Imperial Tea incident in May. Even if there was a typhoon, he would still train at home, not to mention that he was about to finish a bottle of vitality medicine. The distance of 200 meters was covered in the blink of an eye. Toru Watanabe reached into the box on his desk. So fast, so fast. The others can't catch up at all. Aha, the camera, let's see what Toru Watanabe got. It must be me. Listening to the voices, it felt like the student union had stood up and was about to walk out of the broadcasting room and come to the field. The cameraman from the news department immediately focused on the note, but the angle was not good and he could not see the content of the note. The audience and the people in the broadcasting room all sighed and blamed him for being useless. But it didn't matter. As long as Toru Watanabe looked for the item or person, he could also guess what was written on the note. Just as they were thinking this, the other contestants were about to catch up, but Toru Watanabe did not move. What's going on? Why is Kun Watanabe not moving? Kun Watanabe, what's wrong? Amidst everyone's curiosity, Toru Watanabe turned around and pointed the note in his hand at the camera. It's actually... Everyone in the stands laughed, and even the teachers could not help but laugh. Girlfriend? Ah, I remember now. I did write this. Kujo-san. Where is Kujo-san? Along with the voice of the female member of the broadcasting department, the camera kept panning to the audience in each area. She's not here today. Great, my chance is here, Kun Watanabe. As the president of the student union and the chairman of this sports festival, I allow you to treat me as your girlfriend, president. The student council president sighed regretfully and said, all right, since Kuju-san didn't come, we'll allow Watanabe-kun to draw one more time after everyone else has finished drawing lots and found the corresponding items and people. What a pity. I'm so angry. The camera was divided into 2 parts. One part was broadcasting Toru Watanabe, who was standing there in a daze, and the other part was broadcasting the other contestants. The people from the drama department are here. Let's see what it is. The person you like? Sure, if you want to confess. Drama department. The guy from the drama department was stunned and struggled for a while before he rushed into the crowd and held the hand of a girl. Oh, the audience's cheers made the girl who was being held by the drama department embarrassedly cover her face with her arms. Hurry up. Let's continue watching the drawing of lots. There must be something more interesting. The female member of the broadcasting department was excited. The big screen changed again. It was another contestant from the kendo department with a flagpole on the back of his shirt. Am I seeing things? The female member of the broadcasting department slowly read out the contents of the note. Radio room microphone? President. Whoa, I actually got this. What a surprise. After a short while. Wow. Give it back to me, give it back to me. That was just bought by the broadcasting department. It's my doppelganger. Please. Through the microphone of the student union president, the fierce resistance of the female members could be faintly heard. Ha ha ha. Many people laughed and wiped their tears with their sleeves. After everyone left, it was finally Toru Watanabe's turn. Everyone's eyes focused on him again. The student union president's prayers were constantly heard from the broadcast. Pick me, pick me, pick me. The female member of the broadcasting department. She just went to get a spare microphone and wasn't back yet. This time, the cameraman was experienced and found a very good angle. As soon as Toru Watanabe opened the note, the contents of the note were immediately broadcasted on the big screen. Club president Toru Watanabe stood there awkwardly. "Oh, hurry up. Hurry up. Ha ha ha." The others didn't care what they thought. As long as it was a boy and a girl, they would cheer. "Kuin Watanabe, we're running out of time," the student union president reminded him. "Ah, I'm back. Is it over?" The female member of the broadcasting department gasped. Toru Watanabe had no choice but to run towards Rin Kiyono. As he got closer and closer, Rin Kiyono herself didn't react, but the others were already in an uproar. The girls covered their mouths and screamed, while the boys clapped and cheered. Both sides simultaneously separated, forming a path for Toru Watanabe to reach Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe looked at the contestant in the distance who was passing through the obstacle area and reached out his hand to her. Rin Kiyono stroked her chin and watched his reaction with interest. "Hurry up, we're running out of time," Toru Watanabe urged. Rin Kiyono chuckled. "Okay." In the midst of the crowd's cheers, she put her hand in Toru Watanabe's hand. "Are you okay?" Toru Watanabe asked on the way to the obstacle area. "Passing through obstacles depends on sensitivity and reaction, what do you think?" "When I saw your reaction just now, I thought you already had Alzheimer's." Rin Kiyono wasn't angry, because there was something that made her happy enough. "Watanabe-san, let me tell you some unfortunate news." "Did I guess correctly?" Rin Kiyono took a short breath. "It's fine that you came over to invite me, but you hesitated and didn't dare to look at me. Kujo-san will definitely teach you a lesson." "You're kidding me, right?" Toru Watanabe turned around in a daze. "Let's wait and see." Rin Kiyono smiled confidently. When they reached the obstacle area, they passed through the jumping rope area that was sometimes fast and sometimes slow, jumping over the goat, walking the horizontal bar. The two of them were well trained, and they quickly overtook the people in front of them. The other two-person team, the drama club, was much slower than them. "Come on! Come on! No way! We're already the last one to start. Can we still overtake them?" As expected of Kuin Watanabe, Kiyono-san is also amazing. Toru Watanabe was in a bad mood. Rin Kiyono was in a good mood, and her body was more agile than usual. At the final award ceremony, the Human Observation Club won first place in the club competition, and the title of the strongest class was won by the third-year second class. After the principal finished his speech, the noise dispersed, and the sports festival that lasted 3 days came to an end. After school, Toru Watanabe took his school bag and went to the blowing club. Rin Kiyono stood in the commanding position. "I know everyone is tired from the sports festival, but there are only 2 days left before the official competition. On Sunday, we have to take the bus to Nagoya, so we only have 1 day left to train. I hope everyone can work hard and make the final push." "Yes." Although they were tired, the members of the blowing club still answered with vigor. "Go back and have a good rest today. Training will start tomorrow morning." Dismissed. "Thank you for your hard work today." Everyone packed up and prepared to go home. Toru Watanabe stayed for a while to practice until he regained the level he was at before the sports festival. Then he packed his school bag and left the school. On the platform of Shiya Station, he unexpectedly met Aona Koizumi, Huang Zi, and Miyazaki Miyuki. "Sensei." Aona Koizumi turned around. "Watanabe? Why are you still here?" "The competition is coming soon, so we practiced a little more." Toru Watanabe gestured to the instrument case in his hand and asked, "Sensei, what are you doing?" "Car for repair," Huang Zi said. "You took it for repair at the same time?" "Yeah." Huang Zi nodded. "It's the same car." Aona Koizumi smiled and patted Huang Zi. "The three of us grew up together and came to Tokyo from the same town. Now we live together and share the same car. The housing in Tokyo is too expensive," Huang Zi complained. "No, it's the teacher's salary that's too low," Miyazaki Miyuki said, "but Aonai got a lot of money this time because she got first place in the country." "Do you want to treat me?" Toru Watanabe said. "You little guy, you don't know how to be polite." Huang Zi elbowed Toru Watanabe. like a mafia boss teaching his new underling a lesson. Aona Koizumi smiled and pushed Huang Zi away, then said to Toru Watanabe, "Sure, we're going to the izakaya. Want to go together?" "No, I'm kidding." Toru Watanabe waved his hand and explained, "I have to wake up early tomorrow to practice. When I get the national gold medal, it'll be a celebratory feast." "You little guy, you're too arrogant." Before Huang Zi could finish, he was pushed aside by Aona Koizumi. While Aona Koizumi was comforting Huang Zi, Toru Watanabe looked at the electronic screen at the station. There was still a minute before the train arrived. He talked to the tired Miyazaki Miyuki. "Miyazaki-sensei, are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." She was tired, but Miyazaki Miyuki felt relaxed after work, so she was in good spirits. "Alright, there's something I want to ask you." "Go ahead, young man." "Is it about gender?" "No. What I want to ask is, wounds will fester when wet, but will there be any side effects if they're disinfected multiple times?" "Usually, 3 times a day is fine. If the interval between the 3 times is shorter, will there be any effect?" "You went back to disinfect yourself?" "No, I'm just asking out of curiosity." Miyazaki Miyuki nodded, but she didn't tell Toru Watanabe if there were any effects. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.